Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ray Fisher Stadium on this Saturday, March 17th, for the second game of a three-game set between the Michigan Wolverines and the Bowling Green Falcons. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg. Yosef Gross will be joining us later in the broadcast. Michigan got a big win yesterday, 8-6 victory. Started out a little shaky, finished the game strong. Nick, what were your thoughts on yesterday's game?
Well, I think it was very important. Unfortunately, the opening various road trips out to Stanford and Lipscomb, among other places, for the Wolverines baseball team didn't go particularly well. They came back into Ray Fisher Stadium this week at 4-10 on the season. Unfortunately, they suffered a demoralizing loss to Lawrence Tech in the middle of the week, and it was very important to them get their first home win yesterday against the Bowling Green Falcons. Excellent work by the batters, scoring 8 runs after going down 6-0, and excellent work by Tommy Henry after giving up 6 runs, not helped by a shaky defense in the second inning, but very good. Ultimately pitched 7 innings and ultimately turned in a very good performance overall, and excellent team performance. The defense improved late in the game, and ultimately they displayed a good grasp of the fundamentals of baseball throughout the game, and hopefully they will continue that today.
So today it'll be for the Michigan Wolverines, Carl Kaufman on the mound. He's 2-2 on the season with a 4.64 ERA. Defensive alignment for your Michigan Wolverines today, it'll be the freshman Jordan Wogu in left field. Went 2 for 3 yesterday, was basically all of the Wolverines offense. Jonathan Engelman in center and Dominic Clementi in right. From left to right on the infield, it'll be Blake Nelson, Jack Blomgren, Akeo Thomas, and Matthew Schmidt. And behind the dish will be Harrison Salter. Once again, Kaufman on the mound. We're getting ready for first pitch here at Ray Fisher Stadium. And leading off for the Bowling Green Falcons, it'll be Neil Lambert, the shortstop, number 14. First pitch from Kaufman is outside a ball, and we're underway here at Ray Fisher Stadium on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Well, Neil Lambert is your very prototypical leadoff hitter, has an on-base percentage of 45%, and he grounds it right to second base.
Thomas scoops it up, fires to Schmidt for the first out on the day.
As I was saying, Lambert is a very prototypical leadoff hitter, on-base percentage of 4.47, 10 for 13 stolen bases, an average of 344. Excellent opening batter handled by Carl Kaufman. 2 pitches and an out.
So we'll have Derek Dravis for the Falcons in the 2-hole. He's playing second base, bats from the left side. Kaufman's pitch is low and outside for ball 1.
Carl Kaufman appears to be trying to get these hitters to chase early on in at bats.
Dravis 1 for 3 with a run yesterday. The second pitch from Kaufman is right down the middle, a strike. So the count evened up at 1-1 with 1 out here in the first inning. Rest of that Bowling Green Falcons lineup, will get it to you as it comes along. Randy Ryder will be coming to the dish after Dravis, and Kaufman's third pitch of the AB, a strike for 1-2.
Well, that opening outside pitch seems to have fooled Dravis into thinking that he's going to throw balls. Now these last 2 pitches have been perfect right down the middle, a little low in the zone, and he hasn't been chasing.
And Kaufman trying to get Dravis to chase on an outside ball. Count even up now at 2-2. Dravis on the season, a .259 hitter. The pitch from Kaufman is slapped down the third baseline, foul. So we'll do it again, 2-2, 1 out here on Derek Dravis. Kaufman pitching from the windup. Comes set, and the delivery taken low and outside for ball 3. So Kaufman after getting ahead, 1-2, now falling behind here on the 2-hitter Dravis.
Well, Kaufman seems to be committed to trying to get Dravis to chase outside.
The 3-2 now from Kaufman. Right down the middle and poked over the head of Jack Blomgren for the first hit of the day.
No, that's another pitch. It appeared to be either low and outside, or just at the bottom outside corner of the strike zone, and Dravis swung at that, and excellent piece of hitting, excellent contact right over the head of the shortstop and into short left.
So now the three-hitter for the Bowling Green Falcons will come to the plate. It's the righty, Randy Ryder, the first baseman, number 31. And he bats with a runner on first base. Kaufman will work from the stretch. His first pitch is taken outside for a ball. So the count 1-0 on Randy Ryder, the first baseman. A .284 hitter on the season. Kaufman takes the sign, checks first base, and comes set, delivers. And a breaker in there for called strike one. Count even at 1-1.
Excellently located breaking ball right there, froze Ryder, and evened up the count.
Pitch is bounced down the third baseline, foul, so Kaufman gets ahead 1-2. Derek Dravis, the runner on first base, not exactly a threat to steal, only 2 attempts on the season, one of them successful and one of them not.
Well, now that he's back ahead in the count, this time he's going to have to try and finish the job this time.
1-2 from Kaufman and a swing and a miss from Ryder. He goes down on strikes.
Excellent pitch outside early on. They've been committed to trying to get hitters to chase outside, and this time it worked, and I believe that is the first swinging strike of the game.
So Kaufman gets his first swinging strike in the third batter of the game. First strikeout for him, and he'll face Joe McGinnis now, the DH for the Bowling Green Falcons, hitting in the 4-hole. This season he's hitting .316 and swings and misses at the first pitch from Kaufman. Count 0-1 with 2 outs here on Joe McGinnis. Kaufman steps off, steps back on. The 0-1 from Kaufman is taken outside, 1-1. Rest of the Bowling Green lineup today, Nick Neibauer playing right, batting 5th. Jeff Scott catching, batting 6th. Gamma Martinez hitting 7th and playing 3rd. R.J. Williams in left hitting 8th. And Jake Wilson in center batting 9th. The 1-1 bounce to Akeo Thomas, scoops it up and throws over to Matthew Schmidt. So it's a 1-2-3-4 inning for starting pitcher Carl Kaufman. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student broadcast of Michigan baseball.
Ultimately, a good start for Carl Kaufman. Worked relatively quick at-bats with the exception of Dravis, which was a 7-pitch at-bat. All the other at-bats were less than 5 pitches. Excellent work. Obviously, doesn't appear so far, at least in this game, doesn't appear to be a very aggressive game plan by Kaufman and Eric Bakich and the pitching coaches. Generally trying to get them to chase outside. He doesn't look like he's going to try and hammer them inside, which I suppose makes sense considering that Bowling Green is playing a heavy left-handed lineup, 7 left-handed batters against the right-handed Carl Kaufman. We'll see how it works out for the rest of the game.
So Kaufman inducing 2 ground balls and picking up a strikeout in the first inning for his 3 outs. Solid performance there from him in the first, able to bounce back after falling behind on the 2-hitter Derek Dravis. Get 2 straight outs. For the Wolverines today, your starting lineup. Leading off, it'll be the second baseman, Akeo Thomas. Dominic Clementi, the right fielder, hitting 2nd. Jonathan Engelman in center, hitting 3rd. The first baseman, Matthew Schmidt, hitting 4th for the Wolverines. Miles Lewis in at DH in the 5-hole. Blake Nelson at 3rd base, hitting 6th. Jordan Wogu, the freshman left fielder, hitting 7th. And then Harrison Salter catching, hitting 8th. And Jack Blomgren hitting 9th. At shortstop.
Well, this is a very, is the lineup very heavily designed to match the pitcher. David Stopp on the mound for the Bowling Green Falcons is left-handed. Now the Wolverines are going to have 8 hitters right-handed. The only lefty in the lineup is Dominic Clementi.
So Thomas squares around to bunt and takes the first pitch for a strike from David Stopp, the left-hander for Bowling Green. Akeo Thomas on the season hitting .258. Stopp's second pitch is bounced on the first baseline. Thomas running it out, and he'll be tagged out for the first out by the first baseman, Randy Ryder.
Well, unfortunate start for the Wolverines. Akeo Thomas, 4 for 6 stolen base attempts. Had he been able to get on base, and you saw the speed he demonstrated running down, unfortunately the ball went straight to Falcons first baseman Randy Ryder to apply the tag. And now the Wolverines are going to have to start 1 out down.
So Dominic Clementi now coming up to the dish for the Wolverines. Starting right field today, hitting .250 on the season with a .400 OBP. 10 strikeouts to 8 walks. Stops delivery for the first pitch, and Clementi lines that one into left field for a base hit, the Wolverines' first of the day.
Well, excellent piece of hitting there by Dominic Clementi. That pitch appeared to be coming low and inside, and excellent work by Clementi to pull it to his opposite side, short of Falcons left fielder R.J. Williams, and now the Wolverines have 1 on, 1 out.
So Dominic Clementi has no stolen bases attempts on the season. I doubt we'll see him running, especially with Jonathan Engelman at the dish, who is one of the Wolverines' biggest power sources this season.
Jonathan Engelman, one of only 2 Wolverines hitters to have hit a home run so far this season.
First pitch from Stop is taken high and outside by Engelman for a ball. Engelman starting in center field today, .254 batting average on the year, .319 OBP. He's got 6 RBIs and 7 runs in 63 at-bats. Stop comes set, checks the runner at first, and throws over to first, a weak toss. Just keeping Dominic Clementi honest over there at first base. So Stop will reset. Pitching from the stretch now against the righty Engelman. Clementi's got about an 8-9 foot lead over at first base. The pitch from Stop is bounced through the hole between first and second base. Engelman has a base hit, and Clementi rounds second. And he's going to go for third. Ball bobbled in right field by Nick Neibauer. And there's no play at third base, so the Wolverines have runners on the corners with 1 out here in the first inning.
Good situational base running there by Dominic Clementi. Went into second base, appeared to want to stop right there. Turned around. I don't know if he saw that himself or was signaled by the Wolverines' third base coach. But somehow he found out that Nick Neibauer had booted the handling of that ball, and he went straight. He went to third. There was no play. Excellent slide, and now the Wolverines have runners on the corners with Matthew Schmidt up.
So Matthew Schmidt, the Wolverines' cleanup hitter today, batting from the right side, is the first baseman, and David Stop, who owns an 8.22 ERA on the season, in an early bit of trouble here at Ray Fisher Stadium. First pitch from Stop. Looked like a changeup taken over the middle for a strike by Schmidt. It's 0-1. Stop working from the stretch here with runners on the corners. Comes set and steps off, checks first base. No throw, though.
Jonathan Engelman, aside from being a strong power hitter, also attempted 4 stolen bases, has stolen 3.
Engelman dancing over there at first base, trying to get in Stop's head. Swing and a miss there from before hitter Matthew Schmidt. So it is 0-2 now on Schmidt.
2 pitches down in the zone. It looks like David Stop is attempting to get Schmidt to ground into a double play. Low in the zone means he's trying for a ground ball right up the middle in an attempt to get out of this inning, or to strand Clementi at third base.
Stops 0-2 as a fastball taken right down the middle for strike 3. And Matthew Schmidt goes down looking in his first at-bat of the day. That'll bring up Miles Lewis, the designated hitter.
And that's David Stop's first strikeout of the game. Very, very important for him. That's something that he needed. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Now becomes runners on the corners, 2 out. They means the Wolverines can't sacrifice, and they can't really attempt any hit and runs or steals.
So David Stop has now 8 strikeouts in 8 1/3 innings pitched on the season. Also struggles with control a little bit, 6 walks, but we haven't really seen that come into play so far. First pitch curveball taken high and outside by Miles Lewis. Count is 1-0 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Got runners on the corners for the Wolverines. Dominic Clementi, the runner at third base. Jonathan Engelman at first. David Stop, the lefty, on the mound, steps off and throws over to first. Engelman back in time. So the Wolverines looking to cash in here after singles by Dominic Clementi and Jonathan Engelman. Miles Lewis lines one into right field, but falling fast. Nick Neibauer makes the catch, and the Wolverines can't scratch across a run in the inning, so no runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of Michigan baseball. It is the Wolverines 0 and the Bowling Green Falcons 0 after 1. Carl Kaufman trots back out to the mound. He'll look to get warmed up quickly after a solid first inning, Nick. I really liked what I saw from Kaufman. Not afraid to attack the hitters at the top of the Bowling Green lineup.
Well, Carl Kaufman, while he is attacking, he is generally taking a fairly conservative approach to pitching, generally pitching outside, more or less lulling the hitters, and then hitting them right down the middle. He doesn't appear to be jamming them inside, so he's looking for the Bowling Green hitters to either chase or think that more pitches are outside than there actually are. So he looks like a pitcher attempting to strike a lot of batters out.
So due up for the Bowling Green Falcons, it'll be Nick Neibauer, the right fielder, who made the last out of the last inning, catching Miles Lewis's flyout. Then Jeff Scott, the catcher, and Gabba Martinez due up third, the third baseman. So stepping in now for the Bowling Green Falcons is the right fielder, Nick Neibauer.
Nick Neibauer from the last inning, 1 booted hit and an excellent inning catch in the perfect position. And the first pitch is, I believe, called strike 1.
Called strike 1 on the outside corner is Kaufman's fastball. So getting ahead on Neibauer. And the second pitch taken low down the middle for ball 1, count even at 1-1. Neibauer getting the start today for Bowling Green after not starting yesterday. Bunt by Neibauer, fielded by Harrison Salter, fires onto first for the out.
Excellent.
1 away here in the top of the second.
Excellent bare hand grab there by Harrison Salter. That was actually a fairly decent bunt by Neibauer. Bounced right into the dirt and up into the air. Very easily could have rolled away from him or could have gotten too close to Kaufman. But excellent play there by Harrison Salter, waving off Kaufman, taking command of the ball, grabbing it, and throwing it over to first base for the quick out.
So now the opposing catcher, Jeff Scott, steps into the right-handed batter's box against Carl Kaufman. The 0-1 taken for a strike. Sorry, the first pitch taken for a strike. Count now 0-1 on Jeff Scott. Scott didn't get the start yesterday for Bowling Green either. They've changed up a lot of their lineup, so we're seeing a lot of new faces today. A 1 from Kaufman, grounded up the middle. Fielding it is Jack Blomgren, fires over to first, and not in time. So it'll be an infield hit for the catcher, Jeff Scott.
Well, that was a tough ball to field for Jack Blomgren. Blomgren, of course, in there largely for his defensive abilities. Good handling by him, but once he fielded the ball, he seemed to hesitate a little bit before throwing to first base. And with Jeff Scott's speed, which is a very odd statement to make for a catcher, he has beaten out the throw, and now the Falcons have a runner on first.
So Kaufman will work from the stretch against Gabba Martinez. First pitch is called strike 1 on the outside corner. And it's always tough playing on turf. You get those high bounces. On a dirt field, you think Blomgren probably would have made that play.
Yes, absolutely.
Kaufman's 0-1 inside for ball 1, so the count even now.
That's really the first inside pitch Kaufman has thrown so far all game.
So the score 0-0 here in the top of the second. Michigan Wolverines taking on the Bowling Green Falcons. Kaufman checks the runner, Jeff Scott, at first base. He gets back in time.
Jeff Scott, no stolen bases, no attempts.
Not really surprising, seeing as he is a catcher. 1-1 from Kaufman is way outside. Count now 2-1.
Well, Gabba Martinez having a little bit of a rough start to the season so far. Only has a 1.43 average. Had he come up a little bit ago, I wouldn't be surprised had he been given the signal to bunt.
Another pitch taken outside for ball 3. So Kaufman falling behind on Martinez, the 7-hitter for the Bowling Green Falcons. Count now 3-1, and wouldn't be surprised to see Martinez taking here. Kaufman comes set and delivers, and it's taken ball 4 just outside. So Bowling Green now with runners on first and second.
Excellent plate discipline there by Gamma Martinez, especially on that 4th ball that very easily could have been on the high and outside corner. And that's unfortunately a little bit of a rough at-bat for Carl Kaufman. Guy comes up hitting 143, and he appeared to toy with him in the strike zone, and excellent discipline by Martinez, and it cost him a 5-pitch walk.
So R.J. Williams now coming to the dish for the Falcons, starting in left field today, hitting from the left side. First pitch from Kaufman is a fastball down the middle for strike 1.
Good, that's very important after throwing 4 balls in 5 pitches. Excellent way to settle into this at-bat, start off with the first pitch strike.
R.J. Williams, despite hitting in the 8-hole, is a fairly dangerous hitter, hitting .314 on the season, so he can handle his own. Kaufman checks the runner at second, fires to the plate, and a slider taken for, swung on a miss for strike 2, and just like that, Kaufman now ahead 0-2.
Excellent. As we all know, at-bats that start 0-2, the average on 0-2 pitches substantially lower than any other count. And now it looks like he has no choice. Williams has no choice but to protect. He's going to swing. They can either force a strikeout or a double play.
Kaufman's 0-2, taken on the outside corner, just outside for ball 1. R.J. Williams, the left fielder, staying disciplined for these Bowling Green Falcons. Not chasing the outside pitch, so the count on him now 1-2 with 1 out, runners on first and second. Kaufman comes set, and R.J. Williams asks for time, granted by home plate umpire Michael Schultz. So Kaufman steps off and steps back on as R.J. Williams steps back into the batter's box. Count 1-2. Kaufman sets and fires. Swung on and missed, strike 3. R.J. Williams goes down on a breaker.
Excellent pitch there, low and outside. It paints the corner of the strike zone. Williams, being down 1-2, had no choice but to swing at that. He swings to protect. Had he managed to put the bat on that ball, that's either going foul or going straight to third base for an inning-ending double play. Excellent pitch there, and Williams was put in a tough position, and he swung, and it is now 2 outs.
So we got 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. Carl Kaufman on the bump will face Jake Wilson, the center fielder, a 9-hole hitter. Gets him to swing and miss for strike 1.
It's that same pitch again, low and outside, and Jake Wilson bit on it.
So Kaufman working from the stretch with Jeff Scott on second base and Gavin Martinez on first. He's ahead on Wilson 0-1. Comes set, checks second base, nothing doing over there, and a high chopper grounded to Akeo Thomas. Fielding that was actually Matthew Schmidt, ranging over from first base, firing to the pitcher Kaufman for final out of the inning. So in that inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base at the end of 1.5. It is the Wolverines 0 and the Bowling Green Falcons 0. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio of Michigan Wolverines baseball.
And that was a very, very close play. Excellent work by Kaufman getting over to first base. And that's excellent work to save what could have been a very rough inning, starting with 2 players on and 1 out. So excellent work there, as you saw from Kaufman and from David. Stopped the inning before. Both got strikeouts with 1 to get the second out. Strikeouts can do wonders for a pitcher's confidence, and as we all know, pitching is very much a mental game, every bit as much as it is a physical one. And so far, these pitchers have shown that they can settle down after so far, when put in adverse situations, they don't appear to have folded under the pressure yet.
So due up for the Wolverines, it'll be Blake Nelson, the third baseman, Jordan Wogu, the left fielder, and Harrison Salter, who is behind the dish today. Wogu and Nelson yesterday combined to go 3 for 7 with 3 runs and 3 RBI. So both of them stuffing the stat sheet yesterday, looking to get the Wolverines offense going here in the bottom of the second inning.
Well, neither Nelson nor Wogu play a whole lot. They both have, these are, for both of them, their first couple starts. Only their 8th and 9th respective appearances respective, Nelson and Wogu. But so far they appear to be platoon players, but if they continue the way they hit yesterday, and the way they continue, and if they continue that today, then they can count on getting regular innings later in the season.
So it'll be Blake Nelson, the third baseman, coming to the dish first for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the second inning. Nelson, the junior, right-hander, stands about 6'1", from Normandy Park, Washington. First pitch from Stop is taken, low and outside for ball 1. Nelson yesterday going 1 for 4 with 2 runs and an RBI. Stop second pitch is taken outside for ball 2, and just like that, David Stop falling behind on his first batter of the inning. Stop comes set, working exclusively from the stretch, and another ball taken down low. The count 3-0.
Excellent start there by Nelson. Stop possibly looking to take advantage of his relative inexperience. Nelson only, and trying to get him to chase. He hasn't been fooled so far.
And the first strike of the at-bat there to Nelson, count 3-1.
That would have been a good pitch to hit, but 3-0 count. Generally, hitters never swing.
So Stop comes set, delivers the 3-1. Nelson swinging and popping that one high into short center field. Coming on is Jake Wilson making the catch. So Nelson retired for the first out of the inning.
That actually could have dropped. It was right in an awkward position behind the infield, but relatively short center field at both Falcons center fielder Jake Wilson had to cover a lot of ground to get there. If it was a little bit shorter, it could have dropped for a hit. However, Nelson was in good position and good play.
So Jordan Wogu now coming to the dish, the left fielder today for the Wolverines, hitting a robust 600 on the season. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Wogu yesterday had a pretty great performance. After picking up the start, he went 2 for 3 with a run and 2 RBI. Batting from the right side. And the pitch taken low for ball 2.
So far, not an excellent start to the inning by Stop. He started off 3 straight balls to Nelson. Now he started off 2-0 to Nwogu.
The 2-0 to Wogu, fouled straight back to the screen, and it is 2-1.
That was another pitch outside. Fortunately for Stop, Nwogu chased, but he very easily could have been behind 3-0 for the second straight hitter to start this inning.
So Stop delivers the 2-1, and Wogu pops that one into deep left field. On the warning track, tracking it down is Jake Wilson.
Well, very well hit ball by Wogu. Unfortunately, that section of left field is convex a little bit outside from the rest of the wall. Obviously, left field has the short 312-foot far left wall. So it's right in one of the longer places in the park, and excellent work by Jake Wilson covering a lot of ground to catch.
So Wogu lining that one deep to left center, but unfortunately for him, picked the deepest part of the park to hit it to. Probably would have been a home run pretty much anywhere else in the ballpark.
He pulls that one a little more left. That's going over the wall.
So Harrison Salter now at the dish behind 0-1 with 2 outs. Stop delivers, and the curveball bounced down the third baseline, foul.
Bowling Green's second and short spread out far wide toward their respective corners, giving Harrison Salter a lot of space up the middle. I don't know if that's a result. They think he's gonna pull it either way. They don't trust him to. They don't expect him to hit it up the middle. Looks like if Salter can get a bat on the ball and guide it to the middle, then he very easily has a base hit.
Salter hitting .300 on the season. Behind 0-2 here against Stop. Stop's 0-2. A curveball. Salter manages to check his swing, and it is 1-2.
Excellent way to take a pitch right there by Salter. Obviously, being down 0-2, it's very, very difficult to lay off a pitch because at that point you're largely going to have to swing to protect. That was way outside. Excellent discipline there by Harrison Salter.
So the count 1-2 here on the catcher for the Wolverines. Harrison Salter stops pitch is another curveball high and outside. Count even up at 2-2. Might say deuces are wild here with a 2-2 count, 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning.
If only Salter wasn't wearing 11.
1 + 1 is 2, so I guess that kind of counts. Stop comes set, the 2-2, and fires. Salter grounds that one to second base. Derek Dravis scoops it up and fires over to Ryder, and it's thrown away.
Well, the shift, obviously the shift did work in that Derek Dravis was in perfect position to field that ground ball. Unfortunately, a wide throw. Ryder couldn't stretch out for it, and that's going to be the first error of the game on the Falcons. And the Wolverines now have a runner on base with 2 outs.
So the first throwing error of the game for the Falcons. They had that error in the last inning. Right fielder Nick Nybauer couldn't come up cleanly with the base hit.
You're correct.
Allowed Clemente to advance to third base, but it looked like Dravis just getting a little lackadaisical there at second base. He had Salter beat by a couple steps and kind of just lobbed the throw over, hot dogging it a little bit out there, and definitely not something you want to see as the Bowling Green head coach, Danny Schmitz. Jack Blomgren, who has been an offensive black hole this season, hitting just .143 now, stepping up to the plate with a runner on first base and 2 out. Squares her out to bunt, and Blomgren bounces this one down the third baseline, foul.
Well, Blomgren, admittedly, his offensive output has not been great. Started off so far just .143 this season. However, he had an excellent at-bat. Yesterday put 2 runs across on an attempted suicide squeeze. It was mishandled by the Bowling Green defense. He got on base and put 2 across the plate. And it looks like they're just, for Blomgren so far, it looks like they're going to try and get his confidence again because he appears to be actually a fairly competent bunter. So it looks like the attempt there is for him to bunt. So he can use his speed to get on base.
Count 0-1 to Blomgren. Curveball taken outside for ball 1. So in case you're just joining us, Michigan Wolverines taking on the Bowling Green Falcons. Score knotted up at 0 here in the bottom of the second. The batter is the 9-hole hitter for the Wolverines, Jack Blomgren, who is starting at shortstop today. The count on him, 1-1 with 2 outs. On the bump for the Falcons is David Stop, who on the season is 0-1 and owns a 6.75 ERA. The delivery from Stop is fouled off the knob of Jack Blomgren's bat. You really don't see that a whole lot.
Yeah, that's very rare. That's an inside pitch. Blomgren appears to be looming over the plate, and the knob was in the right place at the right time. Or if you're hoping for an on base by a hit by pitch, he was in the wrong place.
Yeah, so Blomgren stepping up very close to the plate. David Stop's delivery. And a balk is called on Stop, so trotting down to second base is Harrison Salter. Also not something you see a whole lot.
No, now that's actually very important. Now, first is runner on first, now 2 outs because of that error. Now you have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Now, granted, Blomgren is the weakest hitter, but even the weakest hitter can get a hit every once in a while. If Blomgren can get his bat on a ball, then suddenly it can be, then the Wolverines can put a run across.
So Salter all of a sudden in scoring position after reaching on an error and getting to second on a balk. Blomgren at the dish waiting for the 1-2 delivery. And it's a called strike 3 on the inside corner. Blomgren goes down on strike, so the Wolverines, no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 man left on base in the bottom of the second. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of Michigan Wolverines baseball.
Excellent comeback pitch right there by David Stopp. Would have been very easy for him to forget his command briefly after being called for that balk and getting a runner in scoring position, but excellent pitch right there. Called third strike, and David Stopp has saved himself yet again.
So Stopp, after an efficient first inning in which he only threw 9 pitches, up to 28 after that second inning. Picked up 2 strikeouts the first time through the Wolverines lineup. Same with Carl Kaufman, who will go up against the top of the Bowling Green lineup. In the third inning, due up for them is Neil Lambert, the shortstop, Derek Dravis, the second baseman, and Randy Ryder, the first baseman. Top 3 hitters of the lineup, who went 1 for 3 in the first inning. It's like there's a little conference going on near the third baseline. It's Carl Kaufman, Harrison Salter, and it looks like Coach Bakich might be out there as well with an umpire. Not quite sure what they are talking about. Kaufman took a few warm-up pitches and then came down to the third baseline, so we'll keep you updated with a potential injury. I don't see anybody trotting out to the Wolverines bullpen to warm up. So, kind of curious that there is a conversation going down at third base over there. So 2 of the 3 umpires down there. It's the home plate umpire and the third base umpire. Still no update on the situation.
And now Danny Schmitz has come out to talk with Mike Schultz.
So it looks like Carl Kaufman will be coming out of the game here. We'll keep you updated on his status when we hear more. If I had to guess, it's got to be an injury from Kaufman because he was pitching pretty fantastically the first time through the lineup. He ends his day with 2 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, no runs, none earned, and 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So a solid outing from Kaufman, but an unfortunate early end to his day. Once we get word on what's going on with Kaufman, we'll be sure to let you know.
That's unfortunate, something you never really want to see. Of course, Kaufman off to a very bright start. But I'm with you, Max. If I had to guess, I would say an injury. Maybe he aggravated something in his arm or his elbow in the previous inning, or maybe something happened to him. Maybe something stupid or trivial, like he tripped and fell in the dugout. But new pitcher is in, and it is freshman number 17, Jeff Criswell.
So Criswell on a bump here for the Wolverines, taking over after Carl Kaufman's early exit. And once again, we will have more information for you on that later in the broadcast once we get word of why exactly he was removed from the game. I can't imagine it was an injury in the dugout, because we saw him trot out to the mound and take about 2 or 3 warm-up pitches before letting Coach Bakich know something was up. Good on Kaufman for knowing his limits and not trying to pitch if he's unable to do so, but really unfortunate for the Wolverines because he's been a rock in that starting rotation for them.
Yes, excellent. He's had a good season so far. If he has to miss any substantial amount of time, that's rough, but obviously it's college sports. Safety is a very big concern. Good on Kaufman there, telling his coach that something's up, and good for Bakich, talking to the umpires, talking to Salter about the situation, and ultimately, if something is bothering him, then this very much is the right decision.
So Jeff Criswell, the freshman from Portage, Michigan. This season he's appeared in 4 games, his most recent appearance coming against Lipscomb when he pitched 2 innings of clean relief, giving up just 2 hits, no runs, and striking out 1.
It'll be interesting to see how Criswell is used, obviously coming on very early in the 3rd inning. So we will see what happens regarding that. We'll see if Bakich wants him to pitch in long relief, perhaps even to 3 or 4 innings, or they use him very short, and they're just going to have to use a lot of pitchers this game. Criswell, tall, thin, built a little bit like Major League pitcher Chris Sale, and he's got a similar delivery, fires from a low position with a high sidearm. And we'll see, he's another right-handed pitcher against this left-heavy Bowling Green Falcons lineup. So we'll see how this works.
Yeah, that delivery actually is very, very reminiscent of Chris Sale's delivery. The only difference between the two is that Sale a lefty and Criswell a righty. But Criswell standing at 6'3", 210. And we'll see what he gets to do here. Obviously, because Kaufman was removed with an injury, Criswell will get an unlimited amount of time to warm up until he is ready. My guess is that Criswell will definitely go multiple innings, assuming he's not ineffective in today's outing. But we saw him go 2 innings in his last appearance against Lipscomb. So he's definitely capable of pitching effectively for more than 1 inning. If he can get 2 or 3 innings of clean relief for the Wolverines, that'll be huge for Coach Bakich.
Well, he's in a very tough position, obviously coming straight off with no warm-up. Even with the warm-up time you get, that's not a full warm-up process that you get when you warm up in the bullpen. So Criswell is put in a very unenvious position here. But if obviously he's taken his time with these warm-ups, which is good to see. But even so, it's very possible that he may not be fully ready by the time that the first Falcons hitter steps up to the plate.
The good news for Criswell is that, and the rest of the Wolverines really, is that they only used 2 pitchers in yesterday's game. Tommy Henry, the starter, going 7 innings, racking up 7 strikeouts, getting the win for the Wolverines despite giving up 6 earned runs, handing the ball right to Jack Weisenberger, who picked up the save in 2 innings, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks for Weisenberger yesterday. And that really bodes well for them for the rest of the series. It's good to set the tone early, not use a whole lot of pitchers, because now, today, completely unexpected exit from Kaufman, they have a more fresh and healthy bullpen to use today and even in the 3rd game of the series tomorrow if necessary.
And that's a luxury most teams are not afforded in most series. Obviously, college baseball, pitchers generally don't go as long as Major League pitchers. So even now in Major League Baseball, not as many pitchers are throwing 200 innings. Most pitchers only go in 6 innings a game. Tommy Henry went 7 yesterday. That was an excellent effort, even with the rough 2nd inning. So excellent job helping his team, and obviously they now have more depth today.
So it looks like Criswell is finally ready. Going out having a little conversation with Criswell is the Wolverines catcher Harrison Salter. And the first batter of the inning for the Bowling Green Falcons will be the leadoff hitter Neil Lambert. In case you're just joining us, Wolverines and Bowling Green Falcons knotted up at 0 here in the top of the 3rd. Starting pitcher for the Wolverines, Carl Kaufman, making a curious early exit, being replaced by Jeff Criswell here. Once again, we'll have more information on that for you later in the broadcast. First pitch from Criswell is a ball on the outside corner, just off the plate. And so Neil Lambert ahead. Count is 1-0. Criswell induces a high pop-up, a mile high. Camped under it is Blake Nelson and makes the diving catch. Can't quite tell in the press box, but it might be a little windy out there just based on how he played that. Looked like he was camped under it for the longest time, and all of a sudden, as it was coming down, had to jump out to his left.
Well, the flags out here are not moving. It's not, so I wouldn't really suggest that it's a problem with the wind. The problem is that was an extremely high pop-up right into the sun. Obviously, it doesn't. Regardless of whether you're wearing sunglasses or not, that is an extremely difficult play to make, and ultimately, what I suspect is that Nelson didn't see it initially and ultimately had to dive for it.
So Criswell efficient with his first hitter, inducing an out on just 2 pitches, and now coming up to the dish is Derek Dravis, the second baseman. First pitch was a ball, 1-0. Criswell second on the way. Is fouled right back at us here, but the screen able to protect us. Count now 1-1.
Well, I don't think that would have hit us. That would have gone a little bit to our left, where there's a few fans, so they should be thankful for the screen.
Dravis singled to the left fielder Jordan Wogu in his first AB, and fouls that one back in basically the same exact spot, just a little higher over the screen.
Popped above the screen, a high arcing foul ball.
And I don't know if you can hear that behind us, but it hit a car, and the car alarm going off right now.
This is why it's actually not a terrible idea to park your car as far away from the stadium as possible if you're able to walk that distance.
So Criswell now ahead 1-2. Fastball taken outside. Criswell pumping gas right now. Really throwing hard, and you can tell on that fastball, we don't have a radar gun here at Ray Fisher, but fastball looked to be low to mid-90s right there.
Criswell throwing very hard, but he's in keeping much with the plan that Kaufman seemed to be followed, throwing outside, getting hitters to chase.
The 2-2 from Criswell is a breaker taken upstairs for ball 3. So the count full on the 2-hole hitter for the Bowling Green Falcons, Derek Dravis. Criswell working from the full windup. Dravis, the lefty, standing in. The payoff pitch from Criswell is taken high and outside for ball 4. So Dravis reaches for the second time in as many at-bats in today's contest.
Well, that's something that, number one, excellent plate discipline, really by all these hitters on Bowling Green so far, but excellent in that instance by Dravis. Really, pitchers of Criswell's build, tall, long-armed, not dissimilar to young Chris Sale, as we mentioned before. Chris Sale, when he was younger, just breaking in with the White Sox, had issues with getting pitches over the plate just because of his arm angle, and so far you see a lot of long arm pitchers struggling with that.
Criswell induces a ground ball, and it's an around the horn double play. So Criswell gets out of the inning after the walk. Blake Nelson to Akeo Thomas to Matthew Schmidt. The 5-4-3 double play, and the Wolverines get out of the top of the third unscathed. No runs on no hits, no errors, and because of the double play, nobody left on base. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, official student radio broadcast of Michigan Wolverines baseball.
Excellent infield defense right there, and an excellent way to clean up the inning by Criswell. Obviously, he had a 6-pitch at bat that ultimately culminated in the Dravis walk. But excellent way to keep your pitch count down so you can pitch more innings, which obviously, so far, given the early exit of Carl Kaufman, is going to be very important going forward for Criswell and the Wolverines pitching staff.
So Criswell able to come in and pitch a solid inning of relief there. Just 8 pitches thrown, so efficiency will be of the utmost importance for Wolverines pitchers today. Coming up in the bottom of the third for them is the top of the lineup. Akeo Thomas, the second baseman, Dominic Clementi, the right fielder, and Jonathan Engelman, the center fielder, is the due up for Michigan. And you really can't ask for a better performance from Criswell there on short notice. Nobody expecting Kaufman to exit the game early. And Criswell coming on in relief with an 8-pitch inning. Spectacular performance from him. We'll see if he can keep it going. And now he's thrown 3 straight innings of scoreless relief for the Wolverines.
Yeah, they needed him to come on in this situation. Obviously, a pitcher, your starter coming off early in the game with what appears to be an injury is something that you never want, especially Kaufman, who has had a great start to this season. But excellent work there by Criswell, coming in, doing what he had to do, and tamping down the damage.
So Akeo Thomas will trot to the dish. He bounced a weak ground ball to the first baseman in his first at-bat of the game. Looking for redemption here against the left-hander David Stopp, who's gotten his ERA down from 8.22 to 6.52 with 2 scoreless innings today.
Well, once again, the infielders being generous with the shift, giving Akeo Thomas a lot of space up the middle.
First pitch to Thomas was a ball. Second pitch on the way. Thomas takes it down the middle for a strike. Count now even at 1-1. So the Wolverines bats really not doing much today. They had 2 singles in the first inning but were unable to cash in, and in the second inning reached only on an error. The 1-1 to Thomas is a curveball taken outside for ball 2. Yeah, this is a very interesting shift, Nick. They're leaving the middle wide open, and we've seen that Thomas is able to ground it right back up the middle. He's really a spray hitter.
Well, maybe they're trusting David Stopp with the glove.
Thomas grabs that one down the third base line, foul. So the count now evened up at 2-2. Stopp has been pretty effective today, facing the batting order once through 2 innings, allowing just 2 hits. The 2-2 now to Thomas is inside for ball 3, and the count runs full. for pitcher David Stopp.
Another thing that might be afraid of, there's a little bit of out-facing corner, really in both corners of the outfield, more specifically I think at the left. So if Thomas can get it past the corner and get it to roll into that corner, that's easy. That's an easy triple, so that's something they could be trying to avoid.
Thomas turns on the inside pitch, but it's fouled down the third base line. So a solid at-bat here from Thomas, able to make David Stopp work after a very efficient first inning that saw him throw 9 pitches, but he threw 19 in the second and already 6 here to Thomas.
Now that's how you get good at bats. Even if this ultimately doesn't end in a hit or a walk, what you can do is get Stopp's pitch count up.
The 3-2 from Stopp is taken high and outside for ball 4, and the Wolverines have their leadoff hitter on here in the third inning.
That's a very big deal. Obviously, we talked about it when he was up the first time. Akeo Thomas has a 67% stealing rate, 4 stolen bases, 6 attempts. Now he's gonna be able to look to steal. Gonna try and get into David Stopp's head as Dominic Clementi stands in there. So we will see perhaps our first stolen base attempt of the game.
So in case you're just joining us, it is the bottom of the third inning here at Ray Fisher Stadium. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg. Josef Gross will join us later in the broadcast. Wolverines knotted up with Bowling Green here 0-0 in the bottom of the third. Runner on first is Akeo Thomas, and at the dish is Dominic Clementi. Bowling Green pitcher David Stopp checks on Akeo Thomas at first, but nothing doing over there for Thomas. Clementi singled to left field in his first at-bat today, now at the dish for the second time. Stopp once again checking on Thomas, very cognizant of Thomas's speed, and he was an all Big Ten selection preseason, so Stopp very aware of that.
Well, it's an awkward pickoff move for David Stopp, being a left-handed pitcher thrown to first base. So excellent work there by Akeo Thomas, getting in his head, making him work, making him get off position. Something that can potentially help out greatly his teammate Dominic Clemente. And there appears to be the Falcons pitching coach coming out for a mound meeting.
Yeah, Rick Blank trotting out, looking to get on the same page with everybody else. Jeff Scott, the catcher, and the entire infield heading out to check on David Stopp, who has thrown the first pitch to Clementi for... It was a curveball inside for ball 1, and it looks like Rick Blank is going to have a little chat with Stopp after he walked the first batter of the inning and is now behind 1-0 on the second batter, Dominic Clementi.
Well, this is good man management here. Just coming out, just telling him before anything gets bad, just to settle down. Settle down. It's not bad. There's only one man on. He's had a great start to the game so far. Excellent work there, just getting him back into his earlier zone, and just tell him just go out there and just pitch.
So Stopp, who works exclusively from the stretch, will look to get things sorted out now behind on the right fielder for the Wolverines, Dominic Clementi, 1-0. Runner on first base is Akeo Thomas, who's got about a 12-foot lead. And once again, Stopp checking on Thomas. It's his third pickoff attempt of the at-bat, thrown just 1 pitch. Clementi, the lone left-hander in this Wolverines lineup today against the opposing left-hander, David Stopp. And Stopp once again checking on Thomas. Now, if we were in a major league stadium, you'd certainly start to hear boos by now.
Yeah, you'd start to hear the boos. Unfortunately, the crowd here at Ray Fisher Stadium is very sparse, and so far appears to be fairly well behaved about that.
And for somebody who got picked off yesterday, Thomas has a pretty sizable lead against the left-hander. Stopp fires to the dish, and it's popped into left field. R.J. Williams struggling with the sun, but makes the catch, and Thomas trots back to first base.
Well, that was right on the short wall, 312 feet in left field. It very easily could have been a home run if it was hit a little bit farther. Unfortunately, Clementi didn't really appear to get the center of his bat on it. Appeared to be just more like a pop-up than a line drive, and it fell just short. Excellent play there in the sun by R.J. Williams.
So now coming up to bat for the Wolverines is number 2, the center fielder Jonathan Engelman, who singled to right in his first at-bat. Akeo Thomas on first base, courtesy of a walk from pitcher David Stopp. It looks like Bowling Green has some activity in their bullpen right now. Nobody warming up very seriously, but playing catch out there. Stopp checking on Thomas once again. I believe that's his 6th pickoff attempt of the inning.
Yes, you would be correct.
So Stop clearly having some trouble over there with Thomas, who is always a threat to steal with the base open. Jonathan Engelman at the plate. He's 1 for 1 today. Stop comes set. Moves to the plate, and a strike fastball delivered on the outside corner for strike 1.
And you see it in the infield too. We've talked about how the infielders for Bowling Green have left the middle wide open. Now the shortstop and the second baseman are both relatively close to second base in the event of a steal attempt. They're leaving holes between second between second base and the corners for Jonathan Engelman to potentially drive through the same way he did in the first inning.
Yeah, in the first inning we saw him get an opposite field base hit right through the gap between the first and second baseman as David Stop checks on Akeo Thomas once again. And again throwing over to first base. So Stop now 8 pickoff attempts in the inning. He's retired just 1 batter. And if I'm not mistaken, ever since Thomas reached first base, he's actually had more pickoff attempts than pitches thrown to the plate.
You'd be correct. They're getting his pitch count up without actually getting his pitch count up.
Engelman turns on the curveball, but that one is chopped foul down the third base line. So the count now 0-2 on the 3-hitter Jonathan Engelman.
Hard swing there by Engelman. Looked like he wanted to drive that one right out of the park. Drive that over to over into the middle of the field in the big house, which we can see over the right field wall.
It's a nice view here at Ray Fisher. You've got Yost Arena to our left, Chrysler in center field. 0-2 taken outside, and another balk is called. That's the first base umpire, Stephen Linton. David Stopp's second balk of the day. And now Jeff Scott, the catcher, trotting out to have a little conversation with David Stop, make sure everything is in order. But now Akeo Thomas in scoring position. Virtually any hit to the outfield should score him with his speed.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Rick Blank coming out there somewhere in this next at-bat. Obviously the second balk, but I suppose if there's a silver lining for Stop, he doesn't have to worry about Thomas on first base anymore. Obviously stealing third is a much riskier proposition than stealing second, so he doesn't really have to worry about it as much.
So Stop's second balk of the ball game, clearly having trouble with runners on first base. In the last inning, he balked Harrison Salter over from first to second. The 0-2 now from Stop to Engelman. Fastball taken low. Thomas swiping third base on the pitch. So now Engelman, all he needs to do is hit it into the outfield, and Thomas should have an opportunity to score.
Well, I appear to have jinxed David Stop. I said third is a harder proposition, so he doesn't have to worry as much. Akeo Thomas goes for third right on the first pitch, and that's brave, especially on an 0-2 count. Could have been an inning-ending double play, a strikeout and a pickoff, but obviously the ball was outside, and excellent base running there by Akeo Thomas.
The 1-2 now to Engelman, taken low, 4-2. Good job there by Thomas to capitalize on the fact that neither of the middle infielders were holding him on, and the infield not coming in here in the bottom of the third inning, so it looks like on a ground ball the Falcons will concede the run up the middle, but the corners are playing a little bit shorter, aware of that suicide squeeze possibility.
Yeah, anything short of a ground ball to the corner will score as long as it's put in play.
2-2 now to Engelman. Grounds it into the hole between third and short for a base hit. That'll bring home the Wolverines' first run of the day. Jonathan Engelman picking up his first RBI of the day, and Akeo Thomas trots home. Wolverines lead it 1-0 here in the bottom of the third.
Well, they put on that corner shift again, conceding space in the middle for the purpose of protecting the corners, and Engelman's sharp ground ball still made it into the gap between third and short, right into left field, and that is the first run of the game, 1-0 Michigan.
Matthew Schmidt, the first baseman, steps in now for the Wolverines. He'll look to keep the hit parade in town. Jonathan Engelman 2 for 2 now on the day. He's on first. Also a threat to steal. We'll see if he can play with David Stop's head a little bit. Stop on cue, checking on Engelman at first. Schmidt is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Started yesterday's game as well. Went 1 for 3. First pitch is a ball in the dirt. blocked by Jeff Scott, the catcher. And the count now 1-0.
Well, there's still warming up going on in the Falcons bullpen. Obviously, can't see the number. We're a long way away from the bullpen, but warm-ups appears to have progressed beyond playing catch. There appears to be relievers up there actually taking pitches.
So we'll see if this is the end of the line for Falcons pitcher David Stopp. He started off on a pretty good note, but throwing 19 pitches last inning, already up to probably around 15 this inning with just one out. Stopp goes to the plate, and it's a ball, 2-0. So the weird thing about David Stopp is that he pitches from the stretch no matter what, but it seems to be a sort of different delivery with runners on base, and perhaps that's what's causing him to have trouble with not only his pitches, but the balks as well.
Yeah, it's very difficult trying to switch between deliveries. Obviously, wind up in the stretch, it's just a case of leaning into the pitch, but if you have two different deliveries from the stretch, it's a very, very hard thing to keep.
Schmidt pops it up into center field, but center fielder Jake Wilson comes on and makes the catch for out number 2 here in the bottom of the third. So Miles Lewis, the DH, who was a late addition to today's lineup. He came in for Brock Keener, who was scratched. Will come to the dish. Lewis is 0 for 1 today with a fly out to the right fielder. On the season, Lewis is a .232 hitter, 302 OBP, 393 slugging percentage, just a .200 hitter with 2 outs. Runner on first is Jonathan Engelman. Miles Lewis waiting on the pitch from David Stopp. Stopp delivers to the plate, and Engelman goes and successfully swipes second base. Second stolen base of the inning for the Wolverines.
Well, the Wolverines really are really running this inning more than anything. Now they have 2 stolen bases, 1 on second, 1 on third. Really messing with David Stopp's head right here. Obviously, now that Akeo has stolen third, he's going to have to he's going to be worrying about Engelman, and it really is just a bad situation for David Stopp right now.
Engelman with not as much speed as Thomas, but a threat to steal nonetheless. The third pitch of the AB bounced into the dirt, so Miles Lewis ahead 3-0 now, and Stopp having some trouble throwing strikes. It looks like the Bowling Green bullpen has ceased their activity, so whatever reliever is warming up looks to be just about ready to come in. We'll see if Danny Schmitz makes a move. He's the Bowling Green head coach. Well, they're going to intentionally walk Lewis here.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to intentionally walk him, give him some time to get ready. It looks like Danny Schmitz. Excuse me, that's Rick Blank appears to be coming out again. I don't know if he's coming out to take the ball from David Stopp, but no, it appears to be really just a mound meeting.
Nope, we've got action here in the Falcons bullpen. They're trotting someone out to the mound, so this will be the end of the line for David Stopp, able to just go 2 2/3 innings. So pitchers for both teams with short outings today. Carl Kaufman, no fault of his own. He was removed with an injury of some sort, and now David Stopp, after an relatively ineffective 2 2/3 innings, will be removed. Stopp throwing 2 2/3, as I just mentioned. 3 hits, 1 run, an earned run, and responsible for the runners on first and second, Miles Lewis and Jonathan Engelman, respectively. 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. He'll end the day with 52 pitches thrown, 30 of them for strikes, and his ERA now sits at 6.97 on the season.
Well, David Stopp actually had a fairly decent start to this game. 2 relatively solid innings to start, but really in this third it's come apart to him. 2 stolen bases, a balk, a lot of pickoffs, and an RBI single by Jonathan Engelman.
So the pitcher for Bowling Green, they'll now bring in a righty, Brad Croy, who is a junior, stands at 6 foot, weighing in at 182 pounds, from Glandorf, Ohio. On the season, Croy is a 1.69 ERA pitcher, so he's been effective in his 16 innings out of the bullpen. He has 2 saves on the season, giving up just 3 runs in those 16 innings of work with 23 strikeouts. So we'll see if Croy can stop the bleeding for these Bowling Green Falcons.
Well, Brad Croy has a very quick delivery, another high sidearm, a little bit more pronounced than Criswell. Kind of looks like former Oakland A's reliever Pat Neshek with a relatively slow movement of his legs, coupled with a very quick snap of the elbow with the delivery of the pitch, firing from a relatively high position. So we'll see how the Wolverines handle this change in delivery.
Yeah, Neshek is the exact comparison I would make for this guy. Neshek signed with the Phillies in the offseason as a free agent. And Brad Croy looking to take after the newly acquired Phillies fireballer and pick up a strikeout here on the Wolverines' 6-hole hitter, Blake Nelson. So 2 outs, runners on first and second here is the situation for Brad Croy, who attempts to pick off to second base, but no throw.
Now pitching for Bowling Green, number 4, Brad Croy.
Nelson is 0 for 1 today. Flew out to the center fielder to lead off the second inning. And Nelson lines the first pitch right back up the middle. That's a base hit. Coming around is Jonathan Engelman. The throw to the dish is cut off, and Engelman will score. So an RBI for the third baseman, Blake Nelson, and the Wolverines now lead it 2-0 here in the bottom of the third.
Well, they didn't even have their corners shift on. The second and short were around second base, but that was perfectly placed hit there in line drive in the air right over second base, over their heads, right into center field. And now runners on first and second, and Wolverines up 2-0.
And coming to the plate now for the Wolverines is their hottest hitter, Jordan Wogu, who went 2 for 3 in yesterday's competition, flew out to the center fielder earlier today in his lone plate appearance. Runners on base for the Wolverines, Miles Lewis on second, Blake Nelson, who just singled in Engelman on first. First pitch taken for a ball. So we've got 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg, and Josef Gross will be taking over play-by-play duties for me after this third inning, and I'll join you guys once again with color commentary starting in the top of the 7th. Time called by Wogu. He steps out.
And with that second run coming in, charged to Drew Stopp, his ERA has risen on the season to 7.84, and obviously still responsible for the runner on second base.
Croy gets his sign, and it hit Wogu. So Croy having some control issues coming in out of the bullpen. And the Wolverines now will have the bases juiced up for their catcher, Harrison Salter.
Well, actually that was very close inside. Honestly, I didn't see it hit Wogu the first time. I think if I had to guess, I'd say it nicked his elbow. That's why you wear those pads on your elbow when you're in the batter's box, especially. Wogu stands very close to the plate, but now bases loaded, 2 outs with Harrison Salter up, 300 hitter.
Yeah, it could have nicked his jersey. Wogu wears the front of his jersey a little baggy, not tucked in all the way, so it could have just swiped that jersey a little bit. Either way, though, the Wolverines in business here, bases loaded with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. They've already pushed 2 across, and this one grounded. A diving stop by Gamma Martinez, but has no play, and the Wolverines will bring home their 3rd run of the inning.
Well, that was a good diving play by Martinez, but that ball moving across the ground at a very high speed. Granted, I will say the turf may have had something to do with that. Martinez really at that point did what he could, and that was just stop the ball from getting into the outfield. In that case, it would have scored 2, but really at that point a run unavoidable, and now Drew Stopp's day statistically is done. He now has 3 earned runs.
So Stopp, all of the runners he allowed this inning have scored. Finishes the day with
an 8.71 ERA on the season.
Exactly. 3 runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, all earned for him. And Brad Croy now trying to stop the bleeding. First pitch to Blomgren is a called strike on the outside corner. Blomgren 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking today on the season, hitting just 140, looking to get off the interstate. Wolverines have the bases loaded here in the bottom of the third with 2 outs. They've already scratched 3 runs across. And the second pitch of the AB is in the dirt for ball 1.
Well, once again, things line up rather conveniently. Jack Blomgren, obviously the Wolverines' weakest hitter, is a freshman. He can get better, but right now he's only hitting 143, well below the Mendoza line. Right now with the bases loaded, relatively, it could not be, it's not as bad for the Falcons as it could be.
And this one grounded up the middle. A diving stop by the shortstop. And can't flip to second in time, so the Wolverines grabbing another run with 2 outs.
I need to say this stuff more, because then when I say things, the opposite happens. That was a ground ball deep into the infield. Good play there by Gamma Martinez. This time he picked it up. Once again, right at second. That play at second base, to me, that was a 50-50 ball, and called safe. And it is now 4-0. And Croy now has his first earned run of the game.
So Jack Blomgren able to push across an RBI. Having a meeting on the mound now for the Bowling Green Falcons after giving up 4 runs in this inning. All but one of them coming with 2 outs, so the Wolverines doing a good job of rallying here. They have 6 hits on the day, 4 of them in this inning. And all 4 of the runs this inning have been earned. So Akeo Thomas, who led off the inning for the Wolverines, now coming up to the dish. They've batted around in this inning. He walked in his previous at-bat, stole third, and then came home on the single from Jonathan Engelman.
Well, with that infield single here, Jack Blomgren has moved his average up to 159, getting closer to that Mendoza line of 200. An excellent piece of plate discipline there by him.
That was Blomgren's 6th RBI of the season. Thomas swings away and fouls one down the first base line, way out of play.
Right into the parking lot.
Looks like the cars were unharmed on this one.
No alarms going off this time. Nobody's windows got broken.
So Brad Croy has done a good job here in this inning of keeping the ball on the infield, but just has been unlucky with where the ball's been placed. Ooh, next pitch to Thomas nearly hits him. The count now 1-1 with 2 outs.
That was way inside.
So the Wolverines now have the bases loaded. On first base, it's Zach Blomgren. On second, Harrison Salter. And on third, Jordan Wogu. Akeo Thomas looking to keep the line moving. 1-1 to him is taken low and outside. Count now 2-1. Brad Croy having a little bit of trouble throwing strikes here. He only has walked 10 guys on the season in 16 innings, which isn't a great rate, but it's not awful. And he does throw hard, 23 strikeouts in just 16 innings pitched.
Well, Croy so far off to a relatively solid start to the season as an ERA below 2, but this is... He doesn't appear to have really settled into this game. Now, granted, going out there with runners on first and second obviously is a tough position to start with, but this is definitely not the start to the game Croy, Rick Blank, or Danny Schmitz were hoping for.
And the 4th pitch of the at-bat to Thomas was fouled off. So it's 2-2 with 2 outs here. Wolverines have the bases loaded. Akeo Thomas at the dish. Brad Croy looking in, and Thomas grabs that one down to third base. Gamma Martinez fields it and steps on third, so the Wolverines finally retired in the 4th inning, but not before 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned. No errors committed by Bowling Green, and they leave the bases loaded, so they lead it here 4-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of Michigan Wolverines baseball. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg. Joseph Gross is going to take over play-by-play duties for me here in the top of the fourth inning.
Well, that was a big inning by the Wolverines there, chasing David Stopp from the game. Obviously, psychologically, that doesn't put your team is in a different position than, say, what the Wolverines were in with Carl Kaufman going off injured. Very much a different scenario. Wolverines now, unlike yesterday where the Bowling Green Falcons scored 6 runs in the second inning to open up, the Wolverines have started this game first by hanging a large number of runs. And interestingly enough, the Wolverines bench appears to be playing duck, duck, goose in left field.
Absolutely. My name's Joseph Gross. That was Nick Hornberg. Glad you could join us here today from Ray Fisher Stadium as the Michigan Wolverines put up 4 runs in the bottom of the third inning, now enjoying themselves, as Nick pointed out, in left field with a raucous game of duck, duck, goose. The story so far, though, has been the battle of the bullpens, though, as Carl Kaufman only able to go 2 innings due to an undisclosed injury. He's replaced by Jeff Criswell, who will start work here again in the top of the fourth inning. What have you seen and again, for the Bowling Green Falcons, David Stopp only able to go 2 2/3 innings, all for 3 earned runs charged to his name.
It's a little bit unfortunate for the Falcons, really, because the pitching, obviously, David Stopp had a good first 2 innings before the wheels came off in the third, and even though they have no runs to show for it, the Falcons have demonstrated fairly impressive plate discipline so far in this game. The Wolverines, first with Kaufman and now Criswell, appear to have stuck to a fairly conservative plan, trying to pitch outside more often than not and getting Bowling Green hitters to chase. Largely, these Bowling Green hitters have not been fooled. There have not been a whole lot of swinging strikes. Really, any one thing, the way they get back into the game is it's just like in flight school when something goes wrong. First thing to do is remember you're flying that you're still flying the plane. With these Bowling Green hitters, just got to remember you're still playing baseball.
Absolutely, as Joe Criswell takes the first pitch out, as Joe McGinnis takes the first pitch outside from Jeff Criswell. Ball 1. Criswell comes into the set again. Delivers the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss there from McGinnis. Count evens up at 1-1.
That was a strong fastball. Appeared to be high 80s, low 90s, right up high in the zone. A lot of major league hitters would turn on that and put it and deposit it in the outfield bleachers, but Joe McGinnis couldn't catch up to it.
The 1-1 pitch, McGinnis lays down a bunt. Charging at third is Nelson. He comes in and he throws McGinnis out at first base. Good reach there by Schmidt, just in time to get McGinnis.
Excellent play there by Blake Nelson. He was lined up fairly deep in the infield. As soon as the bunt got down, now granted it was going straight at him, which helped. He's charging right at it. At the moment he reached the ball, it was at glove height. Perfect grab, perfect turn, excellent throw, and it is now 1 out.
So up to the plate comes Nick Neibauer. Neibauer grounded out to the catcher on his first attempt here today. Takes the first pitch on the outside corner for a strike from Criswell. Neibauer, of course, had that fielding error in right field earlier in the game that helped Michigan put across one of their first threatening positions and absolutely helped them score a run. Takes that second pitch in there for a ball, evens up, or for a strike, and he's down in the count 0-2.
Well, excellent start to this inning by Criswell, getting out in front of counts, running up the strike count. Excellent way for a pitcher to establish themselves in an inning.
The 0-2 pitch now. A swing and a miss there from Neibauer. So Neibauer is down on 3 pitches. Criswell making it look easy here in the top of the fourth inning.
Well, tipped into the glove right there, and so far with I believe the first at-bat was 4 pitches. Now this one was 3. Excellent start so far to this inning, working quickly, getting hitters out, and really just kind of, to an extent, bleeding this inning away.
So up will come Jeff Scott, the catcher. Scott 1 for 1 on the day with an infield single his first time up. Takes the first pitch high and inside for ball 1. Criswell comes into the set, and the 1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0. Of course, the first time up, Jeff Scott able to beat out that infield single. Blomgren just couldn't quite get the ball out of his glove there. 2-0 pitch now to Jeff Scott. Swung on and hit right to a K.O. Thomas at second base. K.O. Thomas falls down, throws from his knees, high throw to Schmidt, who can't come down on the base in time. Another infield single there for Jeff Scott.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think Stephen Litton may have made the incorrect call. Absolutely, no doubt that was close, but I think even when Matthew Schmidt went up to that, I don't think he ever jumped off the bag. But either way, and K.O. Thomas falling down obviously didn't help, but now there's life in this inning for the Falcons. Now they have a man on, 2 outs. Criswell is still pitching well, but now he's got a man on first to worry about.
And they're actually going to rule that a fielding error there on a K.O. Thomas. So Scott at first base, up comes Gama Martinez. Martinez takes ball 1 outside.
Well, Gama Martinez has the lowest average on the Bowling Green side, hitting 143 on the season, similar to Jack Blomgren going into this game. Obviously, Martinez took a walk in the second inning, so we'll see what happens. He's already up 1-0 in the count again.
And he swings at the second pitch and fouls it right off his shin at the plate. Ooh. That one's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's going to be... Hopefully, I hope he's wearing shin guards. But he doesn't appear to be limping, just appears to be... He's taking swings again. He appears to be okay, which is always good to see.
That's one of those where he might take a little longer to get back into the batter's box after that one. So Scott aboard at first on the error by a K.O. Thomas. A bit of an odd play where it looked like he slipped on the turf, couldn't quite make an accurate throw from a sitting position. So Scott aboard. Now the 1-1 pitch to Martinez. On the outside corner, 1-2.
Ooh, excellent, really excellent work so far. First by Coffin and now by Criswell. They appear to be expanding the strike zone to the umpire's eyes, hitting right on the line, and getting called strikes on places where in other situations they would be called balls.
Now the pitch is waved at and missed. Strike 3 on Gama Martinez. Absolutely filthy pitch that painted the outside corner. Nothing Martinez could do right there. And we'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Criswell works a very clean top of the 4th.
Yes, the plan worked to perfection. That time they got a hitter to chase on that pitch. Excellent work. Now Criswell, excellent start so far to this game. He has yet to throw a 1-2-3 inning, but still he's only thrown 21 pitches in 2 innings. That's very big, especially with his early entry into the game. Only threw 4 innings in the game. He's now thrown 2. And they're going to want him, obviously this is going to be big, they want to use as few pitchers as possible. They're going to want Criswell to be able to pitch the 5th definitely, and possibly the 6th, if he can keep his pitch count down. So Criswell helping out his team very much today.
Absolutely, especially when you think about the game tomorrow at 1 o'clock here at Ray Fisher Stadium. We'll have coverage of that as well on WCBN's Sports Radio networks. Go to youtube.com/WCBN Sports. And Danny Schmitz, the coach for Bowling Green, as well as Eric Bakich, the coach for Michigan, have to be thinking about more than just today's game, especially in using their bullpens. So it's key for Criswell to give Bakich some middle inning work here today.
Well, funny you say that. The Wolverines appear to be pretty happy at pitcher right now. Obviously, Kaufman leaving early was the opposite of what they wanted to do, but now Criswell has come in. He's had a great start so far, and now the Falcons. Drew Stopp was chased. Brad Croy appears to be coming back again, but the Falcons seem to have another pitcher up in the pen.
Clemente takes ball 1 there from Brad Croy on the outside corner. Croy, of course, the junior out of Glandorf, Ohio. Clemente swings at the second ball, hits it to second baseman Derek Dravis. Dravis up with the throw. He's throws him out at first.
Well, that was a good pitch down in the zone there by Croy, inducing weak contact from Clementi straight to Falcons second baseman Derek Dravis for the easy ground out. Two pitch at bat right there. Excellent start to the inning by Brad Croy, who looked very flustered when coming in to replace Drew Stopp last inning.
So that will bring up Jonathan Engelman, who's 2 for 2 on the day. Singled and scored his last time up. Engelman swings at the first pitch from Croy and fouls that one straight back. 0-1.
Well, the Wolverines coming out relatively more aggressive this inning. I think they saw how much trouble Croy had coming in last inning. I think looks like they're going to try and jump on him, but Croy so far has started this inning well. Ooh! And
the second pitch from Croy nails Engelman right in the number on his back, and Engelman will trot to first.
Well, luckily for Engelman, that didn't appear to be a fastball, traveling at a relatively slow velocity. It looked more like a changeup, right on the back of his shoulder. Croy right there throwing a little bit too far inside.
You say it doesn't hurt that much as changeup, but anytime you get hit square in the back, can't feel that good.
Well, when I said relatively doesn't hurt, I was referring relative to other pitches. You get hit with a baseball, it's going to hurt.
Absolutely.
Even if it's traveling 40 miles an hour.
That will bring up Matthew Schmidt, who's 0 for 2 on the day. Strikeout looking and a fly out to center field. He'll look at that first pitch from Brad Croy in there for a ball. Engelman takes that lead off first. Let's see if he's not going anywhere on this pitch. The 1-0 delivery misses outside and low, 2-0 on Schmidt. So far in this series, the Michigan Wolverines giving the Bowling Green Falcons some problems on the base paths. Be interesting to see if Engelman puts some more pressure on the defense here. The 2-0 pitch from Croy misses low again. 3-0 is the count.
Well, we know they gave Drew Stopp a lot of trouble. Croy has yet to concede a stolen base. Now, part of that is because most of the bases already had runners on them by the time he came in. But remember, Croy is not Stopp. Croy, frankly, doesn't appear to be as flustered as Stopp was with a batter on base.
And his 3-0 delivery misses low as well. So a 4-pitch walk issued here to Matthew Schmidt, who will take that free pass. That moves Jonathan Engelman up to second base, and we could be nearing the end of the line for Brad Croy as the pitcher is starting to warm up in the Bowling Green bullpen. Looks like Danny Schmitz will be leaving him in here, though, to face Miles Lewis.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that pitcher in the pen's still taking full pitches. Looks like he's still got time to he still needs time to warm up. They'll leave Croy in there. Obviously started the inning well, but unfortunately he's kind of lost the plot so far.
And this will be Lewis's first at-bat from the left side of the plate. Of course, the switch hitter batted right-handed against starting pitcher David Stopp. Runners at first and second for the Wolverines. Here's the pitch from Croy, and that misses way inside. Good block by Jeff Scott to keep the runners where they are.
Excellent play right there. Another pitch far inside by Croy. Strangely enough, however, it was on the other side of the plate. Obviously, the previous hit, Engelman was batting from the right. Now Miles Lewis batting from the left.
Lewis looks at the 1-0 delivery for a strike. That evens up the count at 1-1.
There's another pitch inside of the zone. Croy looks like he's trying to attack Lewis.
Lewis 0 for 1 on the day with an intentional walk in his last at-bat. Now the 1-1 from Croy. That one's way inside as well, not even close. Count moves to 2-1.
Well, Croy appears to be struggling with his command so far, really, since he's entered the game. He is going to struggle, and perhaps that's why Danny Schmitz appears to have two pitchers up in the pen.
And Croy, 10 walks this season in 16 innings pitched coming into this game, so not a huge surprise that he struggled with his command. And the 2-1 pitch is grounded. Is hit way into center field. Drifting back there is Jake Wilson. He'll make the catch. Tagging and heading to third is Jonathan Engelman.
Good work by Engelman to tag up there. Obviously that was hit very, very far by Lewis, but once again, deepest part of the park. Excellent work there by Falcons center fielder Jake Wilson. Cover a lot of ground to get back there, running in the sun. Excellent work, but now the Wolverines have runners on the corners with 2 outs.
So the Wolverines looking to add to their 4-0 lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Up to bat will be Blake Nelson. Nelson singled and scored in his last at-bat, 1 for 2 on the day. Croy will work from the first base side of the rubber. Righty on righty matchup here. Croy comes set. And his first pitch is outside, blocked again by Scott.
Generally, if the pitcher and the hitter are of the same dominant hand, the general consensus is that the pitcher has the advantage. So Croy technically should feel good here. However, unfortunately, the last right-handed hitter he faced was Jonathan Engelman, who he beamed in the shoulder. So with his command, that might not apply to him.
And just as you say that, his second pitch misses just inside. Count goes to 2-0. Croy comes set, and the 2-0 pitch is swung on and hit into shallow right field. Coming in is the right fielder, Nick Neibauer, heading toward the line, and that ball will drop just foul.
Well, he had that gone a little bit to the left and fallen fair. Neibauer would have caught that. Excellent work there to get in position. Luckily for him, the ball dropped out of play, so it wasn't relevant.
A close call there for Neibauer, who had a long way to run. He shaded a little bit more toward right center. That ball did drop just foul, though, so we'll do it again. The count moves to 2-1 here on Blake Nelson. Nelson drops the bat in front of him, saying, "Put it right here, Brad Croy." Croy comes set, and he comes way inside. Runner's going to second. Throw goes to second.
He's safe.
And Engelman runs home, and he takes home on a double steal by the Michigan Wolverines. Great base running there by a combination of Schmidt and Engelman.
That was an exceedingly poor decision there by the infield by shortstop for the Falcons. Neil Lambert right there. He had the ball on second base. Schmidt was about to run into an out, and still he decided to throw it to home instead. He could have done the chase with Schmidt, got him out. That would have been the 3rd out. But no, he tried to throw it to home, offered Schmidt that free base, and run scored, and now it's 5-0 as a result.
So the Wolverines steal a run there from Bowling Green Falcons on a steal of home. Now Schmidt stands at second. Nelson still batting right here. That strike from Brad Croy brings the count to a full at 3-2. And the payoff pitch misses, ball 4. Blake Nelson will take first base. This inning seeming to go on and on for the Bowling Green Falcons as the Michigan Wolverines tack on at-bat after at-bat.
Well, it looks like the bullpen warm-ups are slowing down, which means that, and it looks like the bullpen coach is making a signal to the dugout. Looks like this is likely to be Brad Croy's last batter.
And it will be Jordan Wogu. Wogu, of course, flied out to deep center in his first at-bat, was hit by pitch in his second. Wogu not afraid to take one on the shoulder if necessary. Got hit by pitch in yesterday's game as well. Swings at the first pitch and fouls that one back over the screen and into the press box. Got
into a few offices to the right of ours, bounced right off the glass window.
That's why they keep the windows down here at Ray Fisher Stadium. So Wogu's got runners at first and second, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Wolverines leading 5-0.
It's a good thing we do have those windows. I left my glove at home.
The 0-1 pitch there from Croy comes in as a strike as well. So the count moves to 0-2 on Wogu. Croy looking to limit the damage here in the bottom of the 4th inning. He looks in, gets the sign from Scott. Now comes set. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Just outside. Count moves to 1-2.
Well, he had that chance there to paint the corner. Obviously, being down 0-2, Wogu would have to swing to protect, but again, he threw something egregiously outside, and Wogu could see that was not going to be a called strike.
Croy comes set again. Now the 1-2 pitch. That ball's way inside, almost hit Wogu again. Count moves to 2-2.
Once again, nearly hit him right in the upper arm. Wogu standing over the plate, and Croy has been thrown inside to a lot of these hitters, and almost another hit batter.
Wogu, of course, not afraid to get hit by those pitches, as we mentioned. Took a hit by a pitch in his last at-bat. And he waves at misses at that pitch from Brad Croy. A filthy breaking ball down and away that Wogu was nowhere close to. So we'll head to the top of the 5th inning. Wolverines unable to add on, but they do score in the inning on a steal of home by Jonathan Engelman. Wolverines now lead 5-0 heading to the top of the 5th inning.
Activity in the bullpen has ceased, so it appears that Brad Croy's day after 1 1/3 innings is done.
Likely done for Brad Croy. For the Wolverines, it appears that Jeff Criswell will be coming back out to pitch the top of the 5th inning.
Well, I can certainly understand that. He's only thrown 21 pitches. Relief pitchers usually can throw 30 to 45, up to 50 if necessary. Criswell looks like he could pitch throughout this inning, could possibly pitch the next, depending on how many pitches, depending on his pitch count this inning. Can very much be the long reliever that the Wolverines really have needed this game. If he can take them in to the 5th or 6th and be in line for a win by the time his day is finished, excellent day for him.
And Criswell hasn't started any games this season in his 4 appearances. He's gone 5 1/3 innings in those 4 appearances, going about an inning or an inning a third per start. So this would be a bit longer than he's gone this season, but so far he's looked quite good for the Michigan Wolverines. Nice day here at Ray Fisher Stadium. The sun streaming all along the infield and the outfield.
Yes, beautiful day for baseball here. Very minimal cloud cover. It's about 45 degrees right now. I think it's the hottest it's been in Michigan really since November. So beautiful day, perfect. Really, weather-wise, a perfect weekend for the Wolverines to to play their first home series of the season.
R.J. Williams will lead, the number 8 hitter, will lead off for Bowling Green here in the bottom of the 4th inning, or top of the 5th inning, as we get started here. And he looks at the first pitch high from Criswell. R.J. Williams came in as a pinch hitter in yesterday's game, getting the start here today by Danny Schmitz. And the 1-0 pitch is outside from Criswell. Count moves to 2-0. Williams struck out swinging in his first at-bat here today. On the season has shown that he can be a valuable pinch hitter for the Falcons squad. Now the 2-0 pitch. That one's in for a strike. Count moves to 2-1.
Well, R.J. Williams has already really shown this game that he can provide some good outfield defense. And really, so far this season, he's proven pretty good production from the plate, hitting over 300 so far on the season. So we'll see if he can keep it up and be an important part of the Falcons team this season.
The 2-1 pitch is checked at, and home plate umpire Michael Schultz rules that R.J. Williams went around.
Even if he hadn't went around, I believe that probably would have been a called strike too.
So 2-2 is the count here on Williams in the top of the 5th inning. Criswell comes into the set, gets the sign from the catcher, and the 2-2 pitch. A swing and a miss. So a strikeout of R.J. Williams on a high here from Jeff Criswell.
Excellent at-bat right there by Jeff Criswell. Obviously 5 pitches more than most hitters he's faced so far, but excellent way to set the tone for the inning. He attacked R.J. Williams with fastballs high in the zone, right up around the numbers, and excellent way to start the inning.
So here's center fielder Jake Wilson, who grounded out to first in his first at-bat. He shows bunt on the first pitch and pulls back for a ball 1.
Well, that was an inside. And I said the pitches to Williams were numbers level. That nearly hit Jake Wilson right in the number.
Now the 1-0 pitch misses high to Wilson. Count moves to 2-0. Michigan wearing those white pants with the blue uniforms, with the blue tops. The blue tops, of course, with the maize lettering and numbers. Now the 2-0 pitch catches the outside corner.
And there we go. Now it's 2-1. He's only behind in the count by 1 pitch. Hopefully he needs to look to throw a strike in this one, or on this next pitch to even up the count.
The 2-1 pitch. Wilson checks. Appeal to third base. Did he go around? No,
He
says
did not.
third base umpire Michael Duffy. So the count will go to 3-1 here on Jake Wilson. And the 3-1 pitch to Wilson is in there for a strike.
Called strike 2. And the count is full.
So the string is out here on Criswell. He looks in, gets the sign, comes set, and the 3-2 pitch is swung on and fouled straight back. Wilson will want that one back. That one caught a little bit more of the plate than Criswell wanted. Wilson put a good swing on it, just couldn't put it in play.
Well, now Wilson doing his part to get Criswell's pitch count up, try and get him out of the game. Obviously, he hasn't really had any long relief appearances.
And that 3-2 pitch misses just outside there from Criswell. Michigan doesn't like the call, but Wilson will trot to first base right there with a 1-out walk.
Well, Criswell's already forced 1 double play so far in this game. Let's see if he can get another one, keep his pitch count down.
Criswell with 33 pitches today in 2 1/3 innings, so he's been pretty efficient thus far. Wilson takes his lead off first base, not too far so far. Neil Lambert up to bat for the Bowling Green Falcons. Lambert 0 for 2 today with a pop-up and a ground out to second base. First pitch is high from Jeff Criswell, and the catcher, Harrison Salter, asks for time. He's going to go out and have a chat with Criswell. He's seeing something he doesn't quite like.
Well, Criswell so far this inning seems to have struggled a little bit with getting his pitches down. Obviously, that's a result of the height of the mound and his 6'1" height. Pitchers with that build generally have issues getting the ball down just because from the high arm angle and their height. So let's see if he can get it down a little bit more for the rest of the inning.
Now the 1-0 pitch. That one's way outside, not even close from Criswell. It's 2-0. And you mentioned that usually they have problems, but Criswell, coming into this game, had only issued 1 walk in his 5 1/3 innings pitched.
Yeah, he's done well so far this season, but really, and he started the game very well, but really this inning his command has struggled. This might be a consequence of him not having thrown that many pitches in one appearance this year.
The 2-0 pitch misses outside as well, 3-0. So Criswell really struggling with his command here. Looks like the Wolverines may be getting someone up in the bullpen. If you're wondering if Jake Wilson is a threat to steal, he has 1 stolen base this year on 1 attempt.
Wilson doesn't appear to be taking much of a leadoff. Doesn't look like he's going to try.
And the 3-0 pitch is just outside there from Jeff Criswell. So 2 straight walks with 1 out. And that will lead to a conference on the mound. Blake Nelson, the third baseman, comes in to tell Criswell something. Looks like the pitching coach will be coming out as well to have a chat. That's Rick Blank being the pitching coach for the Bowling Green Falcons. That's Chris Fetter for the Michigan Wolverines.
The Wolverines now seem to be, they have a reliever up in the pen, warming up, starting throwing. So it looks like this will be Criswell's last inning.
So Criswell, who's pitched pretty well so far in 2 1/3 innings pitched. Has issued 2 consecutive walks. Still hasn't given up a hit in his appearance today, though has issued 3 walks. Also has struck out 3 so far. Runners on first and second here for Bowling Green. Jake Wilson with some speed at second base. Neil Lambert at first. And stepping into the batter's box will be second baseman Derek Dravis. Dravis singled and walked in his 2 at-bats. Still hasn't gotten out here today.
Well, Dravis strikes out at double the rate that he walks, so
and Dravis shows bunt on the first pitch, pulls back, and that's a called strike there by home plate umpire Michael Schultz. Dravis bats left-handed. Looks like Danny Schmitz might be putting on the bunt there. Not sure if that was by Dravis's own accord. Criswell comes set. The 0-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled straight back. And Dravis now down in the hole 0-2.
All right, good start to the at-bat there by Criswell. First pitch, obviously, called strike, then getting the pitcher to chase and foul it back. Now he's up in the count. Now he's really in charge. Dravis is going to have to swing to protect. He can either go for the strikeout or try for weak contact to get an inning-ending double play.
Dravis chokes up on that bat with 2 strikes. He'll have to protect here. The 0-2 pitch from Criswell. Just outside and a little high. Count moves to 1-2. Dravis, as you mentioned, does have 10 strikeouts on the year in just 54 at-bats, so he is a strikeout candidate. Criswell comes set, and the 1-2 pitch now to Dravis. Swung on and hit into the right center field gap. Going back is Engelman, over his shoulder, reaches up, and he can't make the catch. That ball falls down the track. Engelman falls down around third, and scoring there is Jake Wilson. Into third is Neil Lambert, and going into second with an RBI double is Derek Dravis.
Well, that play was almost made by Jonathan Engelman. Unfortunately, I believe he lost it in the sun, appeared to fall down as the ball was coming. However, excellent throw to the infield by Engelman to keep the runner at third. Only 1 run comes across the plate.
So that will be Criswell's first earned run of the game here today. Engelman just not able to make the play, and Bowling Green gets on the board as well. Now 5-1 Michigan. So Criswell now has to pitch to Randy Ryder. Ryder, of course, a big home run candidate for that short porch in left field. First pitch is in there for a strike. Runners at second and third here for Bowling Green in the top of the 5th. 1 out. Yesterday was Bowling Green who jumped out to the 6-0 lead, then promptly gave up 6 runs. Michigan looking to avoid that fate here today. As the 0-1 pitch from Criswell is swung on and nubbed just foul.
Once again, good job getting out front in the count. Now he can attack the hitter. Obviously, it didn't really work out for him. Worked out for Criswell last time with Derek Dravis, but once again, it's an advantageous position to be in.
Ryder lays that bat out over the plate, waiting expectantly for the pitch from Criswell. Criswell comes set, now delivers to home plate. That one swung on and hit into left field, going potential tag-up situation. Looks like Neil Lambert, they're sending Neil Lambert. Throw comes in, and it's cut off there by third baseman Blake Nelson. So Bowling Green will score a second run on a sacrifice fly by first baseman Randy Ryder.
Well, with the lead that the Wolverines have, you would gladly take that. Now you only have a runner on second base, 2 outs. 1 more out ends the inning, and there's not really a huge difference between being up 4 and up 3. So that's a trade-off the Wolverines at this stage will happily make. Just get out of this inning and go on to the next.
So up comes Joe McGinnis, the left-hander, is 0 for 2 on the day. He takes the first pitch on the inside corner for a strike. McGinnis grounded out to second his first at-bat, grounded out to third in his second at-bat. Wolverines hoping for the same here in his third at-bat to get out of an inning where Bowling Green has already pushed across 2 runs. McGinnis waves that bat all over the place above his head, and swings at the second pitch, hits it to Akeo Thomas' second. Thomas struggles to field it, picks it back up, and easily throws out Joe McGinnis at first base to end the inning.
Well, Akeo Thomas booted that initially. Good recovery, good throw, good reach there by Matthew Schmidt to end the inning, and I'd say very likely end Jeff Criswell's day.
But in the inning, Bowling Green pushes across 2 runs, thanks in large part to Derek Dravis's RBI double, the second run coming across on Randy Ryder's sac fly. Michigan now leads 5-2 heading to the bottom of the 5th inning. Pretty nice crowd here for Michigan Bowling Green baseball game on this St. Patty's Day. Not a lot of green in the crowd, mostly maize and blue and a little orange as well.
Actually, there's actually a fair amount of orange. Bowling Green's fans actually appear to have traveled reasonably well. They inhabit a fairly decent percentage of the fans here at Ray Fisher Stadium today.
Of course, not that far of a trip from Bowling Green, Ohio up to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Bowling Green located 15 miles south of Toledo.
All right, Brad Croy's day has in fact ended for the Falcons. Now pitching in replaces number 35 left-handed pitcher Daniel Barato.
So that closes the book on Brad Croy. Croy, of course, took over for Stopp, who only went 2 2/3 innings pitched, ran into a bit of trouble, ended up being on the hook for 3 earned runs here today.
And Barato taking pitchers here, warm-up pitches here. Looks like a fairly conventional delivery. Arm angle's a little bit out to the side, but largely nothing all that unusual for the Wolverines to face.
So Daniel Barato, the left-handed pitcher, making his 9th appearance of the year. He's worked 9 2/3 innings so far this season, giving up 9 earned runs for a slightly inflated 8.38 ERA. Of course, hard to say so much at the beginning of the season with the small sample sizes. But up to bat will be Harrison Salter. Salter 1 for 2 on the day. And the lefty's first pitch is high and outside for ball 1. And the second pitch is hit deep into left center field. Going back at the track, looking up is the center fielder Wilson, and he'll reach up at the track and make the catch.
Yet another long fly ball to the deepest part of the park. That hits about 50 feet over to the left. That's a home run.
Salter put a charge into that one, but a good job by Wilson drifting over to his left. Had plenty of time, a lot of height on that fly, able to make the catch easily. So that will bring up Jack Blomgren, the freshman. Blomgren 1 for 2 on the day with an infield single in his last at-bat. First pitch is outside, 1-0. Blomgren, who's been in a bit of a slump at the beginning of the season for the Wolverines, pushed across an RBI in his first at-bat today. Hoping to continue that right here as he hits one down the third base line fair. That'll trickle over towards him to the corner. Blomgren heading into second. He'll be standing up with an RBI, with a lead, a 1-out double there for the Michigan Wolverines.
Excellent work there by Blomgren's, working himself closer to that Mendoza line. Excellent piece of hitting right there. Grounded it right on the third base line, right into left field, right into the corner, and the result is a stand-up double with 1 out, and Blomgren, a player with speed, although his stealing stats may not see it, just one attempt. Granted, it was successful, and his average moves up to 178 on the season.
Yeah, hard to say. A lot of that's what you like early in the season. You gotta hit your average goes up 20 points with these small sample sizes, but it is good. Michigan fans will love to see Jack Blomgren, the defensive stalwart, starting to get his bat going as well. So that will bring up the top of the order in Akeo Thomas, who stands in. Thomas 0 for 2 on the day here today. Takes that first pitch up and outside. Thomas, of course, has reached base today here on a walk, so that extends his consecutive games reaching base to 17 games. Of course, he reached base in 38 consecutive games last year. One out here in the bottom of the fifth. Blomgren at second. The second pitch to Akeo Thomas is in there for a strike. That evens up the count at 1-1. Akeo Thomas leans that bat on his shoulder, now brings it up. Barado comes set and steps off and turns around to second. No one there for Bowling Green, just looks back to the runner. Daniel Barado, the left-handed pitcher, the junior, out of Goleta, California. Now he comes set and he delivers. That's a nice curveball in there for a strike, 1-2. Not quite sure that Thomas agreed with the call there. Probably thought it was a little high. Home plate umpire Michael Schultz, though, called it for a strike.
Well, Bowling Green actually has a leftward shift on their second baseman. Derek Drave is basically right on top of second base. And their shortstop, Neil Lambert, deep in, pretty much closer to third base, deep in the infield.
And that pitch hits Akeo Thomas. Or did they call it? Yep, that pitch hits Akeo Thomas.
Nick
or are they calling it a foul ball now? They call it a foul. Head coach Eric Bakich not happy with that one. I guess that one hit off the knob of Akeo Thomas. No one really seemed sure what had happened, including home plate umpire Michael Schultz, who ruled that one a foul.
Well, Akeo Thomas didn't really appear to react, so looks an awful lot like he was not hit.
As it is, the count is 2-2. And now the pitch from Barado. Up high, 3-2. So one out here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Michigan up 5-2, trying to hit back after Bowling Green put up 2 in the top of the fifth inning. The string is out here on Barado. The payoff pitch. Swung out and hit a pop-up on the infield. That should be easy for Dravis, who drifts back into center field. Calling him off is the right fielder, Nick Nybauer, who comes in to make the catch.
Well, once again, pop-ups with this, with the lack of cloud cover and the sun beating down, it is not. Those pop-ups are not as easy to field as you would think they are. But excellent, good work there by Nybauer, waving off the others and coming in to make the play himself.
So Blomgren will stay at second now with 2 outs, and up to bat will be Dominic Clementi. Clementi 1 for 3 on the day, singled in his first at bat. Clementi bats left. He'll be facing the left-handed pitcher Daniel Barado. Barado works from the third base side of the rubber, looks into catcher Jeff Scott. Scott relays the signs. Barado now comes set. And the first pitch to Clementi is a little high, ball 1. Clementi taps home plate with his bat, swings it around once, swings it around twice. Now he puts it on his shoulder. Barado comes set, and the 1-0 pitch is on the outside corner, 1-1. Blomgren standing out at second base with 2 outs. Will be off at contact and should score on anything hit to the outfield. Blomgren, of course, as Nick mentioned, has some speed. Barado now comes set and the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and hit right at first baseman Randy Ryder. Ryder will take it himself to the bag and just beats out Clementi, who was hustling down the line to get the 3rd out for the Bowling Green Falcons. So Barado comes in. pitches a relatively clean inning and able to keep the score 5-2 Michigan over Bowling Green at the end of 5.
Good play by Ryder there, backing off the base to field and then quickly running back onto the base, beating out the runner. And it looks like Jeff Criswell is going out to pitch a 4th.
Criswell, of course, has only pitched 5 1/3 innings coming into this game here today in 4 appearances, so a bit longer than he's used to. But he's been very good here today, taking over in relief from Karl Kaufman, who had to leave after 2 innings with an undisclosed injury. Michigan Wolverines dugout between innings likes to go into the left field, get some stretching in, doing some synchronized stretching right now.
And the Wolverines appear to still have some activity in the bullpen. So even though I said this last inning, so I was wrong before, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is Criswell's last inning.
Criswell, of course, probably has a short leash at this point. He'll be facing Nick Neibauer, Jeff Scott, and Gama Martinez here in the top of the 6th inning. Bowling Green sitting at 3-14 on the season after yesterday's blown lead to Michigan, who improved to 5-11. For both these teams, really important to get some wins early on in the season here, not feel like your season is getting out of control. So we head to the top of the 6th inning, and it'll be Nick Neibauer, the left-handed batter, up to face the right-handed throwing Jeff Criswell. Neibauer 0 for 2 on the day here today. Struck out swinging in his last at-bat. He looks at a first pitch that misses inside, 1-0. Criswell comes set and delivers his 1-0 pitch outside. Count moves to 2-0. And we saw that a bit in the last inning. When Criswell struggled, it was because he lost some of his command. Interesting to see if he starts off walking Nick Neibauer, that could be the end of the line for him.
Yeah, it's a little bit different this time around. Last inning, a lot of his pitches were high. This time his first 2 balls were low.
The 2-0 pitch is fouled straight back.
And good pitch right there, low and inside. Still in the strike zone though, forcing forcing Neibauer to swing, and now you've made up ground in the count. Now 2-1.
Neibauer raises that bat above his head, waits for the pitch, and hits that one right into the glove of the third baseman, Blake Nelson. A hot shot right at Nelson, who didn't even have to move, just reached down and scooped that up.
Good reflex and reaction there by Wolverines third baseman Blake Nelson.
That's why they call it the hot corner. So Criswell will take that out, and 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. Up to bat now is catcher Jeff Scott. Scott 1 for 2 on the day. Also reached on an error his last time at bat.
Ooh.
And he tries to lay down a bunt on his first pitch.
That is one thing. That was a high pitch, but pitches that come in high are extremely difficult for a hitter if the hitter's trying to square around to bunt.
As it was, he had to get out of the way and take it for a ball. Now the 1-0 pitch from Criswell nails the outside corner, 1-1. Jeff Scott steps out of the batter's box, adjusts his gloves, now steps back in. And the pitch from Criswell. Swung on and hit up the middle. Charging is Thomas, second baseman. He throws to first and gets Scott easily.
Yeah, bouncing ball. That's another one that's fairly easy to lose in the sun, especially as we've discussed on the turf. The ball can bounce a little differently than it normally would on grass. Excellent play there by Akeo to field the ball on the run and to throw it to first on the run.
Yeah, it actually takes some really high bounces off the turf here. We saw yesterday's game. There was a grounder hit that actually bounced on the infield and then went into left field. Almost looked like a single. Gama Martinez shows bunt and lunges for it on the first pitch, strike 1.
It's the second hitter in a row who's tried to bunt on Criswell on the first pitch, and Bowling Green has yet to have a hitter square around to bunt and actually get it down.
Yeah, Nelson is playing pretty far back there at third base. A bit of a hole in between the pitcher, Criswell, and third base. So if you can push it just past the mound, should be an infield single here for Gamma Martinez. Probably what he was trying to do there on the first pitch.
Yeah, a lot of these hitters just square around on the first pitch and then swing
hits up the middle on the second pitch, charging is Blomgren. He comes in and throws out Gamma Martinez. Yeah. So a 1-2-3 inning here for Jeff Criswell in the top of the sixth inning. And we'll move to the bottom of the sixth inning. Michigan still leading Bowling Green 5-2.
Yeah, Jeff Criswell, I believe getting that done in less than 10 pitches, and it's his first 1-2-3 inning of the game.
And a good job there by Criswell, who's been good in relief today of Carl Kaufman. He's let up 2 runs, but he bounced back nicely from last inning with a nice 1-2-3 inning here.
All right, and Verado comes out again to pitch another inning, which makes sense. He had a very strong inning last in the fifth.
Verado, the lefty, of course. Looks like Danny Schmitz is out to discuss some defensive changes here with home plate umpire Michael Schultz. We'll report this to you as soon as we see him. It looks like Justin Mott, the catcher, will come in to replace Jeff Scott, so Mott will take over the catching duties. Mott played yesterday. Schmitz was probably looking to give him the day off, shifting Scott around to play catcher. As it is, though, Mott will come in for Scott.
Well, if I had to guess, that's probably an offensive sub right now because being down 3 runs, extra defense is not really what the Falcons need, even though Scott did beat out an infield single earlier in this game.
First pitch in to Jonathan Engelman is just outside for ball 1. Engelman 2 for 2 on the day. It's been a tough out here for Bowling Green. Second pitch misses inside, 2-0. Verado takes a little longer coming set this time. Gets the sign now for Mott. And the 2-0 pitch misses high and outside, 3-0.
And the Falcons have their shift towards the corners on yet again, giving up a lot of space in the middle, which so far the Wolverines really have not been able to exploit at any point in this game.
Engelman puts the bat out in front of him, now rested on his shoulder. And looks at a high fastball for ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk issued to Jonathan Engelman to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning here for Michigan.
Good plate discipline and a good start for the Wolverines and a rough start for Verado in his second inning of work.
And that's not what Bowling Green wanted to see, because not just because they're down 5-2, but they've had a rough go of it on the base paths here today when in trying to hold Wolverines runners. Of course, Engelman actually stole home on an attempted double steal back in the 3rd inning. Now takes his lead off first base. Pretty solid lead. He's dancing off there. Up to bat is Matthew Schmidt. Before the pitch, a throw to first base to keep Engelman honest, who's back there easily.
With that steal of home, Engelman is now 4 for 5 in stolen bases on the season.
Schmidt will look at a first pitch strike there from Verado. A nice breaking ball in the inside corner. Verado, like some of these other Bowling Green pitchers, slows it down tremendously when runners are on base. Now he comes set, looking over at first base, and tosses over there to Ryder. Engelman back easily as well.
Another pickoff move, not unlike David Stopp. David Stopp, obviously, in the third inning when runners got on base, he made a lot of throws to first base, and looks like Barado is similarly in that vein.
And as you say that, he tosses over again.
Trying to keep Engelman honest and trying to prevent a steal.
Just keeping that arm warm in between pitches is Daniel Barado. Now he comes set. And he finally delivers one to the plate. That one in for a strike, 0-2 here on Schmidt. Schmidt 0 for 2 on the day here today. This is his fourth at-bat, walked in his last AB. Waves the bat out in front of him. Schmidt, of course, the junior college transfer in his first season here at Michigan. Got his first hit as a Wolverine yesterday, as Barado throws over to first again, Engelman back standing. Schmidt played high school ball in Parker, Colorado at Regis Jesuit High School. Schmidt swings and hits that pitch from Barado into deep left field. That one's going to bounce up against the side. Going into third is Engelman easily, and into second standing is Matthew Schmidt.
Excellent cutoff throw there from R.J. Williams in left field for the Falcons, preventing Jonathan Engelman from coming around and scoring. So now runners are on second and third with no outs. And in comes Miles Lewis, the switch hitter.
Miles Lewis, who has the most home runs for the Michigan Wolverines this season with 2, looking to drive in some key runs here. Wolverines up 5-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Runners on second and third after that double from Schmidt. He just laced it right down the line, right up against that wall.
Yeah, very, very, very close to being foul, but good job, good placement. Fair ball, and it rolled into the corner.
And Lewis swings and misses at that first pitch from Barado. Lewis batting from the right side this time with Barado, the left-hander, on the mound. Lewis 0 for 2 on the day. They did intentionally walk him back in the third inning. Interesting to see if they do that again here if Barado falls again behind in the count. Barado comes set. Now the 0-1 pitch to Lewis. Swung on and missed. That one wasn't even close to being a strike. Looked like it bounced 3 feet in front of the plate.
Yeah, that was in the dirt. Well,
the fake dirt, the turf.
Turf dirt.
No outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Wolverines threatening to score with runners on second and third. Miles Lewis steps back into the batter's box.
Barado, good work by Barado, working himself into a pitcher's count so far in this at bat up 0-2.
Barado comes set. Now the 0-2 pitch. Just a little high. Count now goes to 1-2 on Lewis.
Now again, 0-2, very difficult to lay off pitches like that. Good plate discipline by Miles Lewis.
Lewis, of course, in his 55 at-bats this season, struck out 10 times to go with 5 walks. So, not the easiest guy to get to strike out. Lewis rests the bat on his shoulder. Barado comes set and the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and chopped foul towards the Wolverines dugout.
Prolonging the at-bat, getting Barado's pitch count up. Good work by Lewis. The Wolverines have 2 guys in scoring position, and they have 3 outs to work with. Very, very advantageous position for them, even if Schmidt does not manage to get on base.
If you're Lewis, you definitely want to look here to just get the ball in play. No one at first base, don't have to worry about grounding into a double play, though the Bowling Green infield is in to try to cut off the runner at the plate. The 1-2 pitch is waved at and missed by Miles Lewis. Strike 3 swinging.
Well, that was a good breaking ball. Started off high and then dropped into the zone. Lewis chased it and did not get it, and now it's 1 out. Wolverines still have a good shot to put up at least 1 run in this inning, but now they have a little bit less margin for error.
So up to the plate comes Blake Nelson, the third baseman, 1 for 2 here today. Walked in his last at bat. Randy Ryder, the first baseman, in on the infield grass. The other infielders for the Bowling Green Falcons are standing just behind the grass on that turf dirt.
Well, I think the Falcons are wary of what happened yesterday with Jack Blomgren's 2 RBI squeeze. That wasn't even a suicide squeeze because they ultimately failed to throw him out.
The first pitch from Barado misses high and outside, ball 1. Of course, what you're referring to yesterday is when Wolverines had runners on second and third. Jack Blomgren laid down a bunt, and the Wolverines scored both runners after some awful fielding from Bowling Green. And now Barado comes set, and the 1-0 pitch. That's a big curveball that misses just high, 2-0.
Now, that isn't what Barado wanted for this at-bat. Now he's behind in a hitter's count, 2-0. And now with still 2 runners in scoring position, he's going to have to hit the strike zone, and Nelson knows that, and Nelson will be able to swing at some good pitches.
Now the 2-0 delivery from Barado. Nelson takes that one on the outside corner, 2-1. Good speed on the bases for the Wolverines in Schmidt at second base and Engelman at third. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2-1 is the count on Blake Nelson.
Yeah, if Engelman gets a good running start, even with the infield playing in, if they can get a relatively slow-moving grounder towards third base, then Engelman can score relatively easily.
Nelson swings and foul tips that 2-1 pitch from Barado. Looked like Barado won again with that big overhand curveball.
Nelson swinging for the fences on that one.
Barado really looking to get himself a strikeout here. If he can get one right now, would help him tremendously to get out of this inning. Bowling Green still keeping that infield in here, though, trying to cut off Engelman at the plate. The 2-2 pitch from Barado. Swung on and hit right at first baseman Randy Ryder. He's coming home. He throws all the way off the Michigan Wolverines dugout. Going to second is going to be Blake Nelson. And staying at third base is Matthew Schmidt. Scoring on the play is Jonathan Engelman.
Well, that's going to be an E3 right there on Randy Ryder. That was a sharp ground ball to Ryder. He had time to throw it to plate, even though Engelman was charging ahead at full speed. Threw it right past the catcher, and now it is 6-2 Wolverines.
Well, we talked about how Ryder was playing farther in than all the other infielders. Looked like the strategy has actually paid off when he hit a sharp grounder right at him. It was going to be a close play at the plate with Engelman, but he just airmailed that one all the way almost into the Wolverines dugout on the third base side.
And now, once again, runners on second and third. Nelson capitalizing on the bad throw to advance to second.
So up to the plate comes Jordan Wogu. Wogu 0 for 2 on the day here today. Swings and hits the first pitch back up the middle. That's a base hit. Coming in to score is Matthew Schmidt. Also scoring is Blake Nelson. Wolverines push 2 more across the plate. Big RBI single from Jordan Wogu, the freshman.
Well, that corner shift finally cost him, conceding that space in the middle. That's a relatively slow-moving ground ball right past the mound, right into rolling right into the center field. Neither Lambert nor Gamma Martinez were even close to fielding that ball, and as a result, now that's 2 more runs on the board, 8-2 Michigan.
A lot of unearned runs here for Daniel Barado here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Wolverines now lead 8-2 on Bowling Green, who looked like they were finally chipping into that deficit. Jordan Wogu coming up big again for Michigan, as he did yesterday. Looked like the infield was just a little, they were pinched in there trying to cut off the runner at the plate, took advantage, hit it right up the middle over the second base bag, was able to drive in too.
All right, looks like Daniel Barado's day is finished. He has given the ball to a new pitcher, number 13 for the Bowling Green Falcons, Wes Rickenberg.
Rickenberg, the right-handed pitcher, a senior, stands 6'4", weighs 193 pounds, out of Napoleon, Ohio. And
Rickenberg, not dissimilar to Jeff Criswell for the Wolverines earlier in the game. Very tall, thin build, a little bit lower sidearm delivery than Criswell. Trying to think perhaps the closest comparison, I think, maybe I'm saying this just because of the color of the uniforms, Baltimore Orioles pitcher Darren O'Day. Obviously, O'Day is more of a submariner, but still, this is a low. Rickenberg throwing very much a low sidearm.
He does throw out of sort of a three-quarter position right here. Of course, he'll work out of the stretch with Wogu on first base. Wogu, if you're wondering, is a threat to steal. In his limited time playing this season, already has 2 stolen bases in 2 attempts. So far this inning, Wolverines have pushed across 3 runs on 2 hits, aided in part by an error by Bowling Green. They've pushed the score to 8-2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 1 out here so far. Up to bat will be the catcher, Harrison Salter, 1 for 3 on the day. Salter flew out to center field in his last at-bat.
All right, now the responsibility falls on Rickenberg to clean up this inning. He only has 2 outs left to get, but he has Jordan Wogu on first.
Wes Rickenberg boasting a 2.16 ERA on the season so far in his limited action. Checks on the runner at first base. Wogu back in safely with a dive. Wes Rickenberg worked 8 1/3 innings so far this year. His first delivery is in there with a nice curveball, strike 1. Rickenberg, 8 1/3 innings worked, 9 strikeouts, 8 walks so far this season for his 2.16 ERA. Wogu takes a modest lead off of first base. Rickenberg comes set. Now the 0-1 pitch. And runners going, and that one hits off the glove of Justin Mott. Can't do anything as Wogu trots into second base.
Well, he started to run before the ball was dropped, but I think that might go down on the score sheet as a passed ball.
Let's see if they mark it a pass ball. Looked like Wogu may have had it stolen anyway. Mott saw the big jump that Wogu got, sort of closed his glove and a little early there, just couldn't squeeze the ball. As it is, count moves to 1-1 here. And that pitch is swung on and tapped back foul. 1-2. Believe they're just going to call that a straight steal for Wogu. So no pass ball there for Justin Mott.
Yep, they've put it down as a steal.
So that's Wogu's 3rd steal of the year in 3 attempts, showing that he's definitely a base stealing threat. Dravis will now take a closer eye on him at second, especially after Akeo Thomas stole 3rd earlier in the game. Rickenberg now comes set. And delivers, and Salter grounds that one up the middle. Playing it as Dravis. He fields, throws to first. Advancing to 3rd on the play is Jordan Wogu.
Well, again, the turf could have made that awkward, but all in all, a routine grounder right to the middle of the infield. They didn't have the corner shift on, so they were able to make that play. And now 2 outs in the inning. But Jordan Wogu has advanced to 3rd.
So runner at 3rd now, 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Michigan leading 8-2. Up to bat will be the number 9 hitter, Jack Blomgren. Hit a double in his last at-bat.
He's now 2 for 3 on the day.
Yeah, that's a welcome sight for the Michigan fans. Blomgren's had a really tough time so far this season. Takes that first pitch out high and outside for ball 1. Second pitch is just a bit outside there, ball 2.
Rickenberg has fallen behind on this count to Blomgren, who I think their knowledge of his 2 for 3 day is starting to show.
Oh yeah, I don't know if anyone's worried about Blomgren yet, but maybe with a few more at-bats, as that pitch from Rickenberg misses high and inside as well. Count now moves to 3-0.
Good plate discipline there by Blomgren. When you think low average, you think, oh, lots of strikeouts and swinging when he shouldn't. And Blomgren, and to an extent that's true. Blomgren has had 14 strikeouts now
and that 3-0 pitch misses outside. Blomgren takes the 4-pitch walk.
He's had 14 strikeouts now against 3 walks, but excellent show of plate discipline right there.
So Blomgren's aboard with the 2-out walk. Wogu stays put at third. That'll flip over the order of K.O. Thomas, 0 for 3 on the day here today. Will get a chance for a 2-out RBI. This is already Thomas's 5th at-bat here today in the bottom of the 6th inning. The first pitch is just outside, ball 1. Thomas standing in at diminutive 5'8", listed at 5'8", maybe with the spikes on 5'8 and a half. As it is, Rickenberg comes set. His second pitch bounces in there. Good block by Justin Mott. Count now 2-0 on a K.O. Thomas.
Rickenberg falling behind again. Another 4-pitch walk, and this could be very problematic because Dominic Clementi comes up afterwards with his on-base percentage of .400.
Thomas, of course, no easy out himself. And the 2-0 pitch is in there for a strike, 2-1. Runners at the corners for Michigan. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Now the 2-1 pitch from Rickenberg. Swung on and hit past to shortstop Neil Lambert. Lambert goes the short way to second for the out, and that will get Bowling Green out of the inning.
Well, that was a tough play to make. Blomgren, obviously a fairly fast player. Excellent stretch there from second base by Gamma Martinez, and excellent play by the shortstop Neil Lambert to get out of that inning. And Rickenberg now pitches a scoreless 2/3 of the 6th inning.
So that should do it for the Wolverines here in the 6th inning. They still lead 8-2 at the end of 6. As well, my name's Yosef Gross. I was joined alongside here by Nick Hornberg. Max Brill will now be taking over for Nick Hornberg for the rest of the game. Thank you guys for listening, and thanks to Nick for offering his insight in the first 6 innings here today. Of course, you can listen to us at youtube.com/WCBN Sports and on WCBN, and go check our social media platforms on Twitter and Facebook at WCBN Sports. Jeff Criswell looks like he'll be back out here to work a 5th inning of work here today for the Michigan Wolverines in the top of the 7th inning. My name's Yosef Gross. I'm joined alongside me by Max Brill, who's back in the commentator booth after a short respite here in the middle innings.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Yosef. Haven't been getting too much sun in Ann Arbor recently, so I figured may as well take advantage of the nice day. It's a cool 50 degrees out. Sun's right on the field, so took a little hiatus from the press box, went down, caught a couple innings of baseball. Glad to be back.
Absolutely, and it's been beautiful weather and beautiful baseball so far here today for Michigan as they lead 8-2, looking to close it out here in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings.
Yeah, I've honestly been very impressed by the Wolverines hitting today. Wasn't at the game yesterday, but their bats have pretty much come alive here against Bowling Green. They've been doing a great job. Jordan Wogu again after 2 for 3 performance yesterday, coming in today 1 for 3 with 2 RBI, and he's not the only one doing well today. So
R.J. Williams shows bunt on that first pitch from Criswell and pulls it back for ball 1. Criswell gets the sign from the catcher. Now comes set. And ball 2 up high to R.J. Williams.
I was a little surprised to see Criswell coming out for a 5th inning of work. I was even surprised to see him coming out for a 4th inning after he struggled a little bit there in the 5th. But he's been effective so far today. Coach Bakich clearly trusts the young freshman.
And his 2-0 pitch is high, 3-0. A very interesting point, especially because he had only worked 5 1/3 innings pitched coming into today's game. Didn't quite know that he even could work 5 innings total.
It's a good sign for the future of this Wolverines team because Criswell has an electric fastball, pretty solid control and command of it, It's nearly an MLB-ready pitch. If he can develop some good secondary stuff, I could see him developing it into a very solid starter down the line for Michigan.
As it is, R.J. Williams takes ball 4 up high in a 4-pitch walk to start off the top of the 7th inning for Bowling Green, and there might not be much more for Jeff Criswell here today, just as we're mentioning it. Double barrel action down in the Michigan Wolverines bullpen.
Yeah, we can't quite see who it is. There's a pole in the way, but they've got at least one righty up there, and it looks like a lefty as well.
Could be Weisenberger, who worked yesterday.
Yeah, Weisenberger picked up the save yesterday, his first of the season.
Number 9 hitter Justin Mott, who came in as catcher earlier in the game. When Mott came in, he replaced Scott at catcher. Scott took over for Jake Wilson in center field.
Yeah.
That pitch, a swing and a miss there from Justin Mott.
So perhaps that's why we were seeing such the uncharacteristic speed from Jeff Scott early in the game, beating out a ground ball. You see him now in center field for Bowling Green. So clearly not your typical catcher.
Absolutely not. As R.J. Williams, the speedy outfielder as well, takes his lead off first base. And that pitch is way up and inside. Count goes to 1-2 on Justin Mott.
Mott, a 171 hitter on the year. His first at-bat of the day.
Mott swings that bat out in front of him, now rested on his shoulder. Criswell comes set, and the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Huge strikeout by Jeff Criswell. Gets Justin Mott swinging there for his first out in the top of the 7th inning.
Yeah, that's Criswell's 4th strikeout of the day, exactly what you like to see from the young freshman. He's been very composed on the mound today, even though he got into a little bit of trouble in the 5th, able to work out of it after the leadoff walk here in the top of the 7th, able to come back and get the next batter.
So Jeff Criswell gone 4 1/3 innings here today, already 64 pitches. Now his first pitch into Neil Lambert, who is outside for a ball, 1-0.
Criswell today making his case to be in the starting rotation. Don't know how effective he'll be able to be against competition tougher than Bowling Green. Some of the Big Ten schools are a little more potent offensively, and if he doesn't have a secondary pitch, he might have trouble there.
The 0-1 pitch is waved at and missed by Neil Lambert. And to your point, that could be especially important. We don't know what happened to Karl Kaufman, but if he's out for any extended period of time, they might need Criswell to step up. Williams takes his lead off first. And Criswell's 1-1 pitch is outside for a ball, 2-1 to Lambert.
Lambert's 4th at-bat today. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored in the 5th inning. That was the only inning in which Bowling Green got any runs across.
A similar story both days here today for Michigan pitchers as the 2-1 pitch from Criswell comes in. And before he pitches, time is called by home plate umpire Michael Schultz. But a similar story here today for the Michigan Wolverines pitchers in that they let up some early runs here to Bowling Green. They have one inning where they struggle, but overall pretty dominant over this Bowling Green batters.
Yeah, I mean, I like what I've seen from Criswell today.
As the 2-1 pitch is swung on and fouled down the third base line into that bullpen area. Count now evens up at 2-2. Neil Lambert is a strikeout candidate. He has 15 strikeouts this season so far and 64 at-bats.
Criswell's faced him twice today. One walk and got him to pop out to the third baseman, Blake Nelson.
And here's the 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called on the inside corner.
So Criswell clearly not having any trouble after turning this lineup over twice. Usually it's the second or third time through the order that'll get you, and he struggled a little bit the second time through, allowed 2 runs, but coming back right here, first batter the third time through the order, getting the looking strikeout, his second of the inning.
Criswell only looks to be getting stronger as this game goes on. He'll now face the second baseman, batting second, Derek Dravis. Dravis 2 for 2 on the day here today to go along with the walk. And the first pitch to Dravis. Swung at and fouled out of play down the left field line.
Criswell, the Michigan pitcher on the mound right now, comes from a family of athletes. His dad played baseball at Western Michigan, and his sister actually attends Bowling Green, and she's a swimmer. So runs in the family, I suppose. Criswell showing his athleticism today with nearly 5 innings of work so far. And
the 0-1 pitch is swung on and bounced up the middle. Cutting it off is Thomas. He flips to second to Blomgren, and they get the lead runner there to end the top of the 7th inning. Great play there by Thomas. Heads-up play to flip it to Blomgren, who was covering the bag. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Michigan still leading Bowling Green 8-2.
Yeah, in that inning, no runs, no hits, no errors. Stranded one guy on base. And another solid inning of work from Jeff Criswell now. He's gone 5 innings, allowed just 1 hit, 2 runs, both earned, 4 walks, so he has had a little bit of control issues, but 5 strikeouts. He's been fairly effective today.
Yeah, he's been absolutely amazing in relief for Carl Kaufman. You said he has struggled with his command a little, which he hadn't really coming into this game so far. Could be partially a little fatigue. He's already up at around 70 pitches after 5 innings of work, but overall pretty efficient outing, and he's done pretty well.
Yeah, completely agreed there. Like what I've seen from Criswell, it looks like we're going to get the same pitcher on the mound here for Bowling Green after the mid-inning pitching change. In the bottom of the 6th, it'll be Wes Rickenberg coming out for his 2nd inning of work.
Rickenberg struggled a little in the last inning, as it'll do up for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It'll be Dominic Clementi, Jonathan Engelman, and Matthew Schmidt, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters.
Rickenberg has kind of an all-over-the-place delivery. It's very violent, hectic. I mentioned this on the broadcast Wednesday as a comparison, but kind of a little reminiscent of White Sox pitcher Carson Fulmer, who also has a very hectic delivery as a right-hander.
Absolutely. He's got all his limbs flailing out when he pitches. That could be a little disorienting for the batter as well, as Clementi takes that first ball up high, 1-0. Clementi 1 for 4 on the day with a single back in the 1st inning. Looks at that second pitch outside, 2-0.
Clementi's really been one of the constants in this lineup for the Michigan Wolverines. They've had a lot of turnover, a bunch of different guys getting starts here and there, but for the most part it's been Thomas, Clementi, and Engelman and Lewis.
Rickenberg will work quickly with no one on base and throws in a strike there for 2-1.
So that's something you like to see. Clementi, a sophomore, so not draft eligible yet, so they'll have him for at least 1 more season.
The 2-1 pitch to Clementi just misses off the inside corner, 3-1.
And Clementi demonstrated his value last year, perhaps why he's starting this year at a .409 batting average as a freshman.
And he swings and misses, a huge cut there, trying to do a little bit more damage than just get on base. Count now goes full at 3-2. Rickenberg comes set. And the payoff pitch. Swung on and hit on a grounder to shortstop Neil Lambert. Lambert comes up with the throw, and a nice scoop at first base by Randy Reiter. And they'll retire Dominic Clementi for the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning.
So that'll bring up Jonathan Engelman, his 5th plate appearance of the day, and the Bowling Green Falcons have yet to retire number 2. So we'll see if Engelman can keep his hot hitting up here. He's so far today 2 for 2 with a stolen base, an RBI, at 2 steals as a matter of fact, because he swiped home on that double steal in the 4th inning. So he's got 2 steals, an RBI, 3 runs. Engelman absolutely stuffing the stat sheet today.
Absolutely. He's been a menace for Bowling Green today and swings at that first pitch and lofts it down the first base side. Reiter running toward the boundary, and he'll run out of play as it just sneaks out of play.
And a nice catch there by one of the fans to protect the cars in the parking lot.
Yeah, earlier in the game, someone's car alarm went off. It's not really an advantage to park close to the stadium at Ray Fisher.
Nick and I were talking about this earlier in the game, baseball is one of those sports where if it's not a huge stadium, you want to get as far away from the field as possible.
It's the 0-1 pitch is high and inside. Engelman ducks out of the way for a ball, 1-1. Engelman's got some pop.
One of 2 Wolverines this season with a home run.
And the 1-1 pitch is swung on and hit into left field, and that'll be a single for Jonathan Engelman. They just can't get him out here today. He's 3 for 3 now.
Engelman doing it all today. 3 singles, 3 runs, 2 steals, an RBI, reached on a walk, and a hit by pitch. Can't ask for more than that from your 3-hitter.
Absolutely. He's been dynamite. Be interesting to see if he's stealing here with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th.
I don't know if the situation warrants a steal. Wolverines up by 6 late into the game, but Coach Eric Bakich has shown a tendency to be very aggressive with runners on base. Engelman obviously already has 2 steals today. He's attempted 6 on the season, including today's.
Up to bat is Matthew Schmidt, who looks at the first pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. And to your point, it's paid off. The aggressiveness has paid off so far for the Wolverines in the first 2 games of this series, forcing a lot of errors from Bowling Green.
Yeah, Bowling Green, I don't know how many errors they committed yesterday off the top of my head, but 3 today.
They committed 3 yesterday and 3 today, as that second pitch is fouled out of play, and it'll even up the count at 1-1.
So Engelman has his batting average on the season up to 288 after his 3-hit performance today.
Yeah, always fun to talk about those early season sample sizes. He was 254 coming in today, 3 hits, now he's got a 288.
You want to talk about small sample sizes? Jordan Wogu hitting 500 this season.
Throw to first, Engelman back in safely with a dive.
But right now, Matthew Schmidt at the dish. He's a 250 hitter on the year. 1 for 3 so far today. He went 1 for 3 yesterday.
Schmidt batted farther down the lineup yesterday, was batting actually 8th in the lineup. Head coach Eric Bakich moves him up to the cleanup spot here today, and he's gone 1 for 3 with that impressive double his last time up.
Schmidt entering the lineup yesterday and producing immediately. Went 1 for 3, 1 for 3 again today, and he's got a good high school pedigree. He was a team captain in 2015. Perfect game, honorable mention.
Going on the pitch is Engelman, throw down to second, and they get him at second base. A nice throw there from catcher Justin Mott as he nails Jonathan Engelman.
So Engelman thrown out on the base paths for the first time today. He's 2 for 3 on stolen base attempts. Still not a bad day, and honestly with a 6-run lead, not the worst thing that could happen.
Absolutely not. You don't mind the aggressiveness just because they've been so good so far in being aggressive. Engelman especially, as the 1-2 pitch is a called strike 3 on Matthew Schmidt. See you later for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 7th inning. That went real quickly from 1 out and runner on first to 3 outs, and we'll head to the top of the 8th inning. Michigan up on Bowling Green 8-2.
You're listening to WCVN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of Michigan Wolverines baseball. I'm Max Brill, joined by Yosef Gross, and Michigan looking good right now, up 8-2 here as we head to the top of the 8th in that last inning for them. No runs, no hits, no errors, and after the Engelman caught stealing, nobody left on base.
Looks like it will be a new pitcher for the Michigan Wolverines here in the top of the 8th inning. Looks like it'll be Austin Batka, the left-handed pitcher, senior out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Actually number 34, Jack Bredesen, who's been doing a lot of the closing duties for the Michigan Wolverines early on in the season.
So Coach Bakich going to Bredesen here. Maybe we'll try to get 6 outs out of him. I'd assume that that's what he's going for. He was an academic All-Big Ten selection last season as a sophomore. 11 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts. Didn't allow a run in his first 6 appearances last year. This season, he's been nothing but solid.
Though he has struggled a little in his recent outings, only 4 appearances for Bredesen this season and 2 1/3 innings pitched. You mentioned Bakich likes to put him at the back end of that Michigan bullpen. Has given up 3 earned runs in those 2 1/3 innings pitched. Let's see if he rebounds here today. always hard to tell with these pitchers early in the season who's really going to step up. So far, Weisenberger stepped up yesterday for Michigan in the home series opener against Bowling Green. We'll see if Bredesen can do the same here today.
Jeff Criswell, another one of those pitchers who stepped up today. 5 stellar innings out of the bullpen after Carl Kaufman left with an undisclosed injury, or what we believe to be an undisclosed injury. Nothing
Undisclosed to us.
Yeah. And Ben Dragani, another relief pitcher who's been pretty good out of the bullpen. So the Wolverines have found some of their arms that they'll be able to use late into game.
Absolutely, and with a young team for Matthew Schmidt, including 12 freshmen with the number 10 recruiting class in the country entering this season, still a lot to feel out. He doesn't really know who all his go-to players are yet.
Right, and we've seen that today, as we have 3 freshmen in the lineup: Jordan Wogu, Harrison Salter, and Jack Blomgren.
Due up for Bowling Green in the top of the 8th inning will be Ryder, McGinnis, and Nybauer. Randy Ryder, the big righty batter, will lead it off. Playing first base, he'll wave that bat around his head, and he'll look at a first pitch fastball in there for a strike from Bredesen.
So Jeff Criswell's day is done. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 runs, both earned, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and he is the pitcher of record for the Wolverines.
Bredesen comes to the plate again, that time a little bit low. That'll even up the count at 1-1. Ryder stands in at 243 pounds, not the slightest of frames.
I mean, that's typical first baseman's frame. So,
as he swings and hits that 1-1 pitch foul down the left field line. Ryder, of course, is from Michigan, went to Brother Rice High School, one of the big athletic powerhouses in Michigan.
And making his presence known on this Bowling Green team. This season for them, hitting just 275, but he does have a good bit of power. Hasn't hit any home runs, but 3 doubles and a triple.
Swings and hits that 0-2 pitch into the right center field gap. Going back is Engelman. Sliding toward it is Clementi in the right field gap. It hits off his glove. Engelman fields in center field. He'll throw it back. Ryder's into second easily with the leadoff double.
So as the sun begins to set somewhat here, shadows are being cast from the structures beyond Ray Fisher Stadium, and you have to wonder if that played a factor for Dominic Clementi out there in right field who dropped that pop-up.
Wasn't the easiest play. He looked like he had to slide to get it, but definitely a makeable play for Clementi. He'll probably think he should have made it. As it is, though, they'll score that a fielding error on Dominic Clementi. You think that's a little harsh?
No, the ball was basically in his glove. I don't think that Clementi should be beat up over it, though. It was definitely a tough play to make, ranging over in the right center field gap. So, error or not, it was definitely a good effort from him, and I wouldn't be surprised, to see him bounce back pretty quickly from that one. It wasn't not like booting a routine fly ball.
Yeah, second error here for Michigan today. It's been a story for them early in the season. And that will be it for Bredesen as head coach Eric Bakich comes out and gets the ball from him. Interesting to see who they bring in here. So Jack Bredesen only faces one batter. That'll be it. Perhaps bringing in a left-handed pitcher to face Joe McGinnis and Neil Nybauer, the 2 lefties here for Bowling Green.
It looks like we're going to get a pinch hitter here for Bowling Green, actually. Number 41, Anthony Smith, the junior infielder, is standing out on deck taking some hacks. So perhaps Bowling Green responding to the pitching change to try to get the platoon advantage. Entering for the Wolverines is Angelo Smith. He's a lefty, and obviously Anthony Smith, as I just mentioned, a righty. So it'll be Smith-on-Smith crime here at Ray Fisher after Angelo Smith takes his warm-up pitches.
Smith, the freshman left-hander, so Bakich putting a lot of faith in the freshman. Smith out of Thornton, Illinois, stands up on that turf mound at only 5'10", 155 pounds. So big change from Jack Bredesen, who stood in there at a pretty tall 6'6".
Angelo Smith is a little reminiscent of Carl Edwards, the Cubs pitcher, who's similarly statured and nicknamed aptly the string bean slinger just because he's got such a slight frame. Angelo Smith kind of...
And of course, Smith throwing from the left side,
yeah. But Still similar build, similar speed. I think it's a pretty fair comp.
I think it's a good comparison, yeah. Carl Edwards, of course, pretty dynamite for the Chicago Cubs in that World Series run.
So we'll see if Smith can do the same.
So Angelo Smith is in to face pinch hitter Anthony Smith for the Bowling Green Falcons. On second base is Randy Ryder. No speed to be had there. Smith will work from the third base side of the rubber.
Stretch with the runner Ryder on second base.
The first pitch from Smith is low for a ball. Good block there by catcher Harrison Salter.
Exactly what you want to see from Salter. Couldn't quite keep the ball in front of him, but made sure it didn't bounce too far away. Didn't want Ryder advancing on that.
Angelo Smith gets the sign from his catcher Harrison Salter. Now he comes set, and the 1-0 pitch. That's swung on hit on the ground into left field. Holding at third is Ryder. Aboard with a single is Anthony Smith. Good piece of hitting there from Anthony Smith.
So the platoon advantage plays off. Nice call there by Coach Schmitz, the head coach of Bowling Green, to play the platoon advantage there. And now, just like that, runners on the corners, nobody out here for Bowling Green. Wolverines could see themselves in a bit of trouble.
And it looks like pinch hitting for Nick Neibauer. There will be another pinch hitter, and it'll be Hector Gutierrez. Oh, excuse me.
Ty Sunken, I think, is the...
for Hector Gutierrez, of course, being for Michigan. Ty Sunken for Bowling Green.
Sunken, the right-hander. Once again, coach opting to play the platoon advantage. Sunken, a junior.
Runners at the corners for Bowling Green as the first pitch is way inside on Sunken there. Ryder at third, McGinnis at first. Neither of them particularly fast. Smith comes set, and the 1-0 pitch to Sunken. That's waved at and missed, 1-1.
Exactly what you want to see from Smith. Inducing some swings and misses. Staying off the strike zone, not giving them anything to hit. In an 8-2 game, no reason really to just, try to get ground balls. I'm glad to see Smith still.
And the 1-1 pitch to Sunken is grounded towards third baseman Blake Nelson. He charges, he drops the ball, fields it, and throws to first. Safe is the call by first base umpire Michael Hoffman, or Stephen Litton. Able to beat out the throw by Blake Nelson, who had a bit of a trouble picking up that ball. Actually bobbled it and dropped it, had to recover, couldn't get it in time. Scoring on the play was Randy Ryder. Michigan now leads 8-3.
So, a nice effort there by Blake Nelson, but not able to stick with the high chopper, and Bowling Green now cutting into this Michigan lead. They trail 8-3.
So runners now at first and second for Bowling Green, and up to bat will be Jeff Scott. Scott, who's shifted to center field after Mott came in, fouls off that first pitch back out of play. Still no outs here in the top of the 8th inning as Angelo Smith tries to work out of a bit of trouble.
Jeff Scott, the catcher turned center fielder in today's contest. So far on the day, 1 for 2.
And the 0-1 pitch to Scott is hit back way into deep center field. Going back is Jonathan Engelman on a dead sprint. Looks up. That ball's going to hit up against the wall. Going to third is Ryder. Oh, no, actually, he caught that one up against the wall. Way back in the shadows near dead center, that 395-foot fence. Tagging going to third was McGinnis on the play. Neibauer staying at first.
It's so tough to see the shadows out there in center field, especially with the sun basically right in our eyes here in the press box.
Absolutely, and make that Smith going to third. Smith, of course, pinch hitting for McGinnis. Nice play there by Engelman.
Engelman able to stick with that fly ball despite running into the shadows. That's a veteran move there from him. Obviously, Engelman is well versed in center field, a junior, so he knows his way out there.
I would tell you how Engelman made the catch, but you can't quite see it way back hidden in the shadows. as it is, that'll bring up Gama Martinez. Or actually looks like there's going to be a pinch hitter for Gama Martinez. That will be the right-handed hitter, Cam Dougherty. He takes the first pitch inside for ball 1, 1-0. And the 1-0 from Smith is way outside. Wow. Salter had to reach all the way across to nab that one.
So Angelo Smith having a little bit of control issues here in and around the plate, but can't quite find the strike zone. His only out recorded in this inning was a deep fly ball to center.
So the 2-0 pitch now to Dougherty. And that one's in there for a strike. Cam Dougherty batting only 143 on the season so far, albeit only in 14 at-bats. Looking to push across another run for Bowling Green here. Runners at first and third, and now the 2-1 pitch. Just a bit outside, 3-1.
Dougherty, the 6'6" junior from Wooster, Ohio. Made 39 starts last season, appeared in 49 games. In 2016, played in 38 games. So Dougherty, one of the go-to guys.
Smith working quickly, comes set again, and the 3-1 pitch is not even close on inside, and he walks the bases loaded.
And there's somebody warming up out there in the Michigan bullpen. There's a pole in our way, so we can't quite see who it is. It is a left-hander, I can tell you that much. So, obviously, Angelo Smith is in the game right now, but a handful of other left-handers available out of the bullpen. Benjamin Kaiser, Ben Dragani, to name a few. William Tribuker might be available after his start on Wednesday. Also have Austin Batka.
Looks like it'll be pitching coach pitching coach Anthony Feder out to talk with Angelo Smith, see how the freshman is doing. He's worked himself into a bit of a jam here with the bases loaded in the top of the 8th.
Angelo Smith this season hasn't exactly been lights out. He has a 3.38 ERA, which is good, but he's also given up 5 hits and walked 2 in his 2 2/3 innings of work, not including today's work. So, young fireballer. Looks like he's going to come out of the game, though, as we have a pitching change here for the Wolverines.
So that will be it for Angelo Smith. Smith only recorded 1 out in his work. Of course, one of those, he let 1 run cross the plate. That run was charged to Jack Bedison, who actually allowed that leadoff double to Randy Ryder.
They called that an error, I believe. So
an unearned run. Unearned run to Bredesen.
Bredesen, no innings pitched on the stat sheet. We'll call that 0+. No hits allowed, 1 run, unearned, no walks, and no strikeouts. And Angelo Smith now, his day is done. 1 hit, 1 walk, no strikeouts, and responsible for all the men on base. And for the Wolverines now coming in, it'll be Benjamin Kaiser, the left-hander.
Well, so much for saving that bullpen for the Sunday matchup for head coach Eric Bakich. Just looking to escape with the win here today, as the Wolverines have worked themselves into quite a jam here in the top of the 8th inning. 1 out, bases juiced for Bowling Green, with Smith on at third, Dougherty at second, and at first, and Nybauer at second.
So Benjamin Kaiser for the Wolverines, number 14. This season, he has an ERA of 18.00, allowed 4 earned runs in 2 innings. But Coach Bakich putting his trust in the redshirt sophomore last season. Kaiser was a 2016-17 Distinguished Scholar, also academic All-Big Ten. So Wolverines with some minds on the mound here in the 8th inning.
And Kaiser only pitched 2 innings so far this season, as you mentioned, giving up a whopping 4 earned runs in those 2 innings, leading to that inflated ERA. Opponents batting .500 against him so far in those 2 innings pitched. So it'll be Smith at third, Sunken at second, and Dougherty at first. Up to bat, pinch hitting will be Evan Brown, in for R.J. Williams, the left fielder.
Yeah, Bowling Green going with a lot of platoon matchups here, using that bench, trying to get all they can here in the top of the 8th.
Kaiser, the left-hander, comes into the set, and the pitch in there for strike one. 0-1 there to Evan Brown.
And I'm eager to see what Bowling Green does with their defensive alignment in the bottom half of this inning, because they've already sent up 4 pinch hitters.
They have a catcher who can play center field. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Kaiser comes set, and the 1-0 pitch, and the 0-1 pitch is in there for a strike. 0-2 quickly to Evan Brown.
So that's what you like to see from Kaiser coming in after Angelo Smith walked a batter, going right after the first hitter he faces, Evan Brown.
Bases juiced here for Bowling Green in the top of the 8th inning. 1 out. The 0-2 pitch to Brown. A swing and a miss. Strike 3. Kaiser comes in, gets Brown on 3 pitches, sends him right back to the dugout.
Good morning, afternoon, and good night, Evan Brown. He heads back to the dugout after a brief appearance in the batter's box. Exactly what you want to see from Ben Kaiser coming in, doing what he needs to do. And now it'll be Justin Mott, who entered as a pinch hitter in the entered as a defensive replacement. Now will come up to the bat for his second time today. Struck out in his only plate appearance.
So it'll be the right-handed batter, Justin Mott, facing the lefty, Ben Kaiser. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. Bases still loaded, 8-3 Michigan. Now the first pitch from Kaiser is inside, ball 1. Michigan head coach Eric Bakich didn't like that call at all.
Can't blame him at all, but obviously can't argue balls and strikes.
Now Kaiser comes set, and the 1-0 pitch. That one's waved at and missed by Mott on the high heat away.
Key for Kaiser has been throwing strikes so far. 3 strikes to the previous batter, 1 strike here, so doing what he needs to do to get out of this jam.
2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. Big at-bat here for Justin Mott and Ben Kaiser. Kaiser comes set, and the 1-1 pitch is swung out and hit in the hole between first and second base. Coming around to score is Anthony Smith. Ty Sunken's coming to the plate. The throw comes. It's offline. Sunken will score easily. Into third is Cam Doherty, and in first base with a 2 RBI single with 2 outs is Justin Mott. A huge hit for Bowling Green.
So Ben Kaiser, after retiring the first batter on 3 pitches, giving up the single to Justin Mott, didn't even look like he was really trying. He kind of just slapped that into right field and found the hole.
A good 2-strike approach there by Justin Mott. Just sort of flung that out as you describe. Just found the hole in between Thomas and Schmidt on the first base side.
And that'll be an unearned run. Both unearned runs. Had the error not been committed by Dominic Clementi earlier in the inning, we'd be out of the inning already because there are 2 outs. So all runs from this point forward will go as unearned. Angelo Smith still responsible for the runner on third base.
As it is, Neil Lambert, the leadoff hitter for Bowling Green, will step into the batter's box and take a first pitch strike there from Ben Kaiser.
Kaiser's been doing a good job throwing strikes. We'll see how he continues this approach on Neil Lambert, who's been one of the most potent hitters for Bowling Green this season.
The second pitch from Kaiser misses down and away, 1-1.
Lambert, a .328 hitter on the year. OBP of .438, .463 slugging percentage, 10 steals on 13 attempts. So kind of your prototypical leadoff hitter, high OBP, nice speed.
Runners at the corners for Bowling Green, and the 1-1 pitch. Curveball that hits the outside corner from Ben Kaiser.
Nice breaker there from Kaiser. Way to switch up the approach after back-to-back fastballs. And Wolverines now, after giving up 3 runs in the inning, looking to get out of the jam.
Ben Kaiser, here's the 1-2 pitch. Waved at and foul tips right there. Barely getting a piece was Neil Lambert.
Yeah, Harrison Salter's got to squeeze that, get his pitcher out of the inning, but we'll do it again now with a 1-2 count, 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning.
So 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. Michigan up 8-5. The count 1-2 on Neil Lambert. Kaiser comes set, and the 1-2 pitch. I guess high there.
Yeah, I think that was a little high. A good pitch, though, from
Home plate
Kaiser.
umpire Michael Schultz ruled that high. Kaiser looked like he wanted it. Head coach Eric Bakich as well. Count moves to 2-2. Kaiser comes set. The 2-2 pitch to Lambert. Just a little outside. Wow.
And you can hear the groans from the crowd. They wanted that pitch as well. Right on the corner, could go either way. I'm honestly surprised that Lambert was taking there. You got to protect the plate with 2 strikes, but now the count runs full, so we'll have some movement on first base from Justin Mott.
So the string is out here on Kaiser. And the payoff pitch to Lambert. Strike 3 called.
So Neil Lambert going down on called strikes for the second consecutive at-bat. And that inning, Wolverines giving up 3 runs, none of them earned.
Lambert couldn't believe that call as he headed back to the Bowling Green dugout. Good job by Ben Kaiser to work out of a little bit of trouble.
Overall in that inning, sorry for interrupting you, Wolverines giving up 3 runs, none earned, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 guys stranded, and at the end of 7.5, it's the Michigan Wolverines 8 and the Bowling Green Falcons 5. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of Michigan baseball.
Looks like it'll be Wes Rickenberg back out to pitch for Bowling Green in the bottom of the 8th inning. This game now a lot closer than it was 1 or 2 innings ago, with Bowling Green adding 3 in the top half.
Yeah, so now it's a question of whether Coach Eric Bakich is going to bring his closer that closed yesterday, Jack Weisenberger, in once again for the save opportunity here. Wolverines leading by 3, obviously, is a save situation.
He's already used Bredesen today. Weisenberger worked 2 innings yesterday in scoreless relief, getting that double play to end the game. Didn't throw a lot of pitches, though, for working 2 innings.
So we'll have, for the Wolverines to lead it off here, Miles Lewis.
And let's get you those defensive replacements for Bowling Green. Looks like Evan Brown, who came in to pinch hit for R.J. Williams, will take over for him in left field. Still got Dravis at second base, as well as Randy Ryder at first. Neil Lambert will stay at short. Justin Mott now catching, with Jeff Scott, the former catcher, moving to center field. Miles Lewis will step into the batter's box as he takes the first pitch inside for ball 1. So Evan Brown in left field, Ty Sunkin actually in center, pushing Jeff Scott over to right field. So he's a catcher, gone to center, gone to right, as that second pitch is high and outside for ball 2.
Good play discipline here from Lewis. His only time reaching base today was on a walk. He's 0 for 3 aside from that.
And Cam Doherty will come in and play third base. That third pitch there from Rickenberg misses just outside, and the count moves to 3-0 on Miles Lewis. Lewis takes a step out of the batter's box to compose himself, steps back in. Rickenberg's 3-0 pitch just catches the outside corner, 3-1.
Obviously taking all the way there, 3-0 with this game, all of a sudden becoming a ball game after the 3-run 8th from Bowling Green.
And the 3-run pitch from Rickenberg is swung on and hit high into right field. Very playable for Scott, who drifts over into center and makes the catch just in front of the center fielder, Ty Sunkin.
Jeff Scott's been all over the diamond today, starting out behind the dish, then moving to center and now in right field.
Talk about a super utility player. Guy who can play catcher, center field, and anywhere in the outfield, apparently, with now in right field. So that'll bring Blake Nelson, the third baseman, up to bat for the Michigan Wolverines. Nelson stands in and looks at a high fastball for ball 1.
So just to get you updated on the defensive alignment for Bowling Green.
The second pitch in there is just a little inside, 2-0.
All new positions for the outfielders, Evan Brown in left, Ty Sunkin in center, and Jeff Scott in right.
And the 2-0 pitch is swung on and hit foul just out of play off to the right side.
Nelson today, 1 for 3, reached on an error in the 6th inning and scored, singled in a run and scored in the 3rd inning. Aside from that, walked and flew out to the center fielder.
Nelson ahead in the count here, 2-1. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Michigan up 8-5 on Bowling Green. The pitch from Rickenberg nails Nelson right in the back. That might be the 4th hit by pitch here today, as Bowling Green pitchers have seemingly lost a bit of their command. As it is, Nelson will trot over to first base. He's on base for the 3rd time here today.
By my count, I have 3 hit batsmen in today's contest, so control has been an issue for the Bowling Green Falcons, and they've actually walked more batters than they've struck out today. 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, plus the 3 hit batsmen. That's a lot of free passes.
And that's going to do it all for Wes Rickenberg, as head coach Danny Schmitz makes the call to the bullpen. We'll get you updated with that change as soon as the new pitcher comes in. Up to bat for the Wolverines will be Jordan Wogu, the freshman who's really emerged here in this home series as an offensive threat. Or it looks like Wes Rickenberg will be staying in the game. Schmidt's just going out there to have a chat with his pitcher. Maybe tell him he's got 1 or 2 more hitters. So it'll be Rickenberg staying in the game to face Wogu.
Yeah, an interesting call here. I suppose you want to keep the platoon advantage, but Wogu has been good today in his last at-bat, which was off against not Wes Rickenberger. He singled in 2 runs.
This time looks at a pitch inside to start off the at-bat, 1-0. Blake Nelson aboard at first base. Not a threat to steal. Second pitch again inside, count moves to 2-0.
Wogu today is 1 for 3 with a single, 2 RBIs, a steal, hit by a pitch, also struck out and flew out to center field.
He's been absolutely filling up the stat sheet.
He has.
This is his 2nd start of the season, and he swings and sends that one way back to deep left field. Going back is Brown at the track, looks up, it's gone! A 2-run shot by Jordan Wogu.
And the freshman making his presence known here. An absolutely outstanding series here for the freshman Jordan Wogu. 2 for 3 with 2 ribbies yesterday, and today hitting the home run over that huge left field fence. Nothing but high fives and smiles for Jordan Wogu.
Everyone out of the dugout to greet the star freshman who hit it right above that sign where it says 8 regional titles for this Michigan baseball team. He hit that one so far over it might have hit the track and field complex building right across the street.
And despite giving up that home run after the conference, Wes Rickenberger is going to stay in the game.
Maybe a case of, at this point, they just want some innings from him. So Wes Rickenberg will stay in the game here to face Harrison Salter, who bats 8th for the Wolverines. Michigan now leading 10-5. That first pitch is way inside on Salter, 1-0. So still 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Michigan now with a more comfortable 5-run lead. That pitch, a looping curveball that just missed low, 2-0. And the 2-0 pitch is waved at and missed. 2-1 the count on Salter. So a big home run there from Jordan Wogu. That in just his 2nd game start of the season, probably making a case to start a lot more.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot here for the Wolverines as the pitch is taken by Salter on the outside corner for strike 2. But can't really see any reason to sit him down.
Absolutely not. As the 2-2 pitch is waved at a miss, it bounces in the dirt. The catcher, Mott, will recover it, throw to first to righter, and they get Salter on the strikeout.
That was the only 5th strikeout by the Wolverines today, so they've done a good job of putting the ball in play.
And going back to Wogu for a moment there, you would expect that he would have some power. He's got a big frame, stands in at 6'3", 225. Might just be a case of developing it a little, but he's definitely showing some signs early here. Up to bat now is Jack Blomgren as that first pitch is taken high, and I believe the catcher Justin Mott missed it, and it hit right off the chest plate of home umpire Michael Schultz. Ooh.
Yeah, that's got to hurt behind the dish. Catcher's job is to protect the umpire not doing it there. We've got Jack Blomgren up at the plate so far today. He's 2 for 3 with a double, a single, an RBI, a walk, and a strikeout looking. So he's done a good job of improving his batting average. Nearly off the interstate now, hitting 178.
And that pitch misses way inside as well, so the count is to 2-0 on Blomgren. And to your point, Blomgren struggled so far this season. He's been in there because he's great offensively, as the 2-0 pitch misses low 3-0. But if he can get his offense going as well, that's a huge bonus for head coach Eric Bakich.
Completely agreed. An offensive output from the bottom of the lineup, it would be crucial for these Wolverines.
Blomgren swings that bat around, and the 3-0 pitch misses way outside, skidded all the way to the backstop. So a 4-pitch walk issued to Jack Blomgren. Wickenburg still in the game at this point.
Blomgren has reached base 4 of 5 times in today's contest. A nice little day for him after some offensive struggles earlier in the season. Perhaps this is a sign of things to come for the young shortstop, and it looks like we're going to have a pitching change here for Bowling Green.
And finally a pitching change to take out Wes Wickenburg, perhaps a few batters too late, as it looks like head coach Danny Schmitz will be making the call to the bullpen.
Not clear who we have coming out of the bullpen yet. We see them trotting in, can't quite spot their number. Don't believe Bowling Green has their numbers on the front of their jerseys. So we'll wait for the announcement and let you guys know once we have word.
Those really faint orange color, hard to make out, especially in this sunny afternoon day here in Ann Arbor. Due up for the Wolverines, it'll be the top of the lineup here. Still with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Blomgren on at first. It'll be a K.O. Thomas up for the 6th time here today.
And Wes Wickenburg for Bowling Green. His day is finished. Went 2 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, both earned, and also responsible for Jack Blomgren on first base. He also walked 2 and struck out 2.
And in for Bowling Green, it'll be Damon Egnor, the right-handed pitcher, sophomore, 6'2", out of Paulding, Ohio. Egnor with a 1.93 ERA so far in this short season.
Egnor has been very effective this season for Bowling Green, as you just mentioned, an ERA below 2. Last season appeared in 13 games, made 1 start, struck out 18 batters in 20 1/3 innings. So he's a guy they trust in high leverage situations, trying to stop the bleeding here at the bottom of the 8th.
Absolutely, although it seems that he has struggled with his command a little bit this year. 9 walks and only 7 strikeouts in 9 1/3 innings pitched.
Definitely something you want to see improve.
As he throws that warm-up pitch nearly over the catcher, Justin Mott. That home run from Wogu, though, just a huge hit with the Wolverines struggling, trying to beat back the comeback from Bowling Green, only up 8-5. Wogu comes in, absolutely clobbers that one over the left field wall.
And that's especially something you want to see from a freshman. Wolverines don't really have anybody in this lineup with a ton of power. Last season, they had Drew Lugbauer, who now obviously is in the minor leagues, affiliated with the Atlanta Braves, and he had 13 home runs in 2017 in the minors, played for the Wolverines. He had double-digit home runs for them last season, and this season the Wolverines have no hitters with more than 2 home runs, so it's good to see Wogu showing his power off for the Wolverines.
Absolutely, as a K.O. Thomas will be up to face Egnor. And the first pitch from Egnor is in there for a strike, 0-1. K.O. Thomas 0 for 4 today, did keep that consecutive game streak alive, reaching base on a walk back in the 3rd inning.
Still looking for his first hit of the day, though.
As that pitch from Egnor misses far outside.
So Michigan leading here by a score of 10-5 in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Blomgren at first base, and the pitch from Egnor misses outside. Count moves to 2-1. This the 6th at bat for Thomas here today.
Yeah, Cam Thomas been doing work at the plate. Only reached base once, but he's a threat at the top of that lineup.
As he lays off that high fastball, count moves to 3-1.
And he has been struggling a little bit with the wood this season, only hitting 242. OBP up there at 375, though, which is what you like to see from your leadoff hitter.
Absolutely. Thomas still getting it done, even though he struggled a little getting the ball in play and getting on base, or getting hits. Now the 3-1 pitch. That one just nicked the inside corners. Thomas started for first base, didn't think it was anywhere close. Home plate umpire Michael Schultz says, stay here for one more pitch, though.
And that doesn't bode well for Thomas on this one, as you got to think anything close is going to be called against him. Home plate umpires hate being shown up like that.
And the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed. So Egnor comes in, strikes out Thomas, and that'll take us to the top of the 9th inning. Wolverines leading 10-5 after that monster 2-run shot from Jordan Wogu. In the inning, 2 runs score on that shot from Wogu. Only the 1 hit and that walk issued to Jack Blomgren.
The Wolverines leave Blomgren stranded there on first base. So, presuming that they don't give up any 5-run innings here, that will have been their last offensive appearance of the day, and a good one at that, a good inning. The home run from Wogu really capping off a nice offensive day for Michigan at the plate.
Absolutely. Everyone besides Lewis and Thomas getting hits. Rough day for Thomas at the plate, going 0 for 5. That's one of those he'll just throw out. But absolutely a good day for Michigan on offense. Due up for Bowling Green here in the top of the 9th inning will be Derek Dravis, Randy Ryder, and Anthony Smith. A lot of power there at the top of the lineup for Bowling Green. Ryder and Smith, big home run candidates. Derek Dravis has been a tough out so far for the Wolverines.
Last time up, Dravis grounded into a fielder's choice to end the inning, but aside from that, I mean, on the entire day, really, he's had a nice day. He has 1 RBI, 2 hits, and a walk. His only out made was that fielder's choice in the 7th inning. And then Randy Ryder is 0 for 4, 0 for 3 with a sac fly, and Anthony Smith singling and scoring in the 8th inning.
So for the Wolverines, Ben Kaiser will stay out there as he looks to close out Bowling Green. He's already pitched 2/3 innings pitch, 12 pitches so far to his name. Struck out both of the batters that he got out after allowing that 1 hit. It'll be the left-handed batting Derek Dravis to face the left-hander Ben Kaiser. And Kaiser's first pitch is high, ball 1.
And we have a defensive substitution for the Wolverines. Dominic Clementi taking a seat in favor of Joe Pace.
And the 1-0 pitch misses in the same spot, 2-0. Kaiser comes set, and now the 2-0 pitch. High again, 3-0.
Kaiser struggling a little bit to throw strikes here. Got to just attack the zone up by 5 late in the game.
Now the 3-0 pitch to Derek Dravis. Just outside. Not quite sure where that one is. Home plate umpire Michael Schultz, I guess, called it outside, and that'll be a 4-pitch walk to Derek Dravis to lead off the top of the 9th inning.
And it's especially unusual on a 3-0 count to see a pitch that's so close be called for a ball. Generally, umpires like to expand the zone a little bit on 3-0, give the hitter a chance to hit, and on something as close as that, I would have expected a strike call, but nonetheless, Derek Dravis reaching on a walk.
So Ryder will be up to bat as he takes that first pitch high and outside, and Salter will come out to have a chat with Kaiser, who's thrown 5 consecutive balls.
Yeah, that's a veteran move from Salter, who is a freshman, so it's good to see him having that awareness, knowing when he needs to go out and have a chat with his pitcher.
Dravis at first base, 1 stolen base on 2 attempts this season. Probably won't see him moving here with Bowling Green down 5. Now Kaiser comes set. And that pitch misses low, 2-0. So 6 consecutive balls for Ben Kaiser, who's really struggled with his command here in the 9th inning.
And not just the 9th inning. This season overall, he's struggled with his command. 3 walks on the season and just 2 2/3 innings pitched.
And that one's in for a strike, 2-1.
And you hear the cheer from the crowd as Kaiser finally able to find the zone, and hopefully he can continue that momentum.
So the count now at 2-1. Ryder standing in there with that big frame. Looks at a ball inside, 3-1. He may not even lift the bat off his shoulder at this rate.
We do see some action in the Wolverines bullpen, so they have some insurance behind Kaiser if necessary. It's a righty. Maybe Weisenberger. Can't quite tell from here.
The left-hander Kaiser looks in to get the sign from Salter. Now he comes set. Checks the runner at first. Delivers to home plate. That one's high and outside. And a 5-pitch walk issued to Randy Ryder.
So not a whole lot of good here from Ben Kaiser. He's thrown 9 pitches in the inning, 8 of them outside of the strike zone, and it looks like we're going to get a mound visit here from pitching coach Chris Fetter.
Fetter coming out to have a chat with Ben Kaiser. All the infielders as well as Salter come to congregate on that turf mound.
No movement from the Wolverines, nobody exiting the bullpen right now, so my guess is that they're just having a chat, either waiting for whoever's warming up out there to get ready. And here we have the home plate umpire, Michael Schultz, coming out to break up the conversation on the mound.
And as you say, that looks like someone is coming in from the pen for the Michigan Wolverines. So that should do it on the day for Ben Kaiser, as head coach Eric Bakich will take the ball from him.
And it looks like it will be Troy Miller in relief here for the Wolverines.
Nice round of applause for Ben Kaiser.
So Kaiser responsible for the runners on first and second base. Aside from that, not a terrible day at the office. Nothing to be especially proud of, though. 2/3 of an innings pitched. 1 hit, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. No earned runs allowed, but, as I mentioned before, responsible for the runners on base.
And so into pitch, as you mentioned, will be Troy Miller. Miller, the junior right-hander, like many other of these tall right-handers for the Wolverines, stands in at 6'4", a Michigan native out of Rockford, Michigan.
Yeah, I like what I've seen so far from Miller. He has good velocity. He has kind of struggled a little bit with his command as the California product. This season he's been okay. Nothing exceptional, but a 6.94 ERA is really not terrible.
As you mentioned, he does have the 6.94 ERA, but also only an 11 2/3 inning pitch. Again, hard to tell, so young in this season.
And he does, as I mentioned, he has good velocity. He has 12 strikeouts in 11 innings and change pitched. So he's shown that he has the ability to sit batters down, though he does have 7 walks also. So we'll see which Troy Miller we get today.
Absolutely, you never really know, and I'm sure pitching coach Chris Fetter will be looking for someone to hit the zone a little bit after Ben Kaiser just completely lost control there.
Something worth noting for Miller is that in his previous 2 appearances, prior to imploding a little bit, he has struck out 4 straight batters in each. So if he's able to start off strong as he has been in the past, should be able to make short work of this Bowling Green middle of the order.
And this would be a big win for the Michigan Wolverines. It would give them a series victory in their home series opener. After starting off the season 4-11, they won yesterday to get their 5th win, hoping to get their 6th win here today. Dravis stands out at second, Ryder at first. Batting will be Anthony Smith, who singled and scored in his pinch hit at bat here today. Miller comes set, and the first pitch to Smith. That one swung on and fouled straight back. Good hack there from Smith.
So after Kaiser throws 8 out of 9 pitches for balls to lead off the inning. Troy Miller coming in right here and pounding the zone.
Second pitch from Miller is swung on and fouled down the right field side and out of play. So the count quickly 0-2 on Anthony Smith.
Breaking pitch from Miller there, keeping Anthony Smith on his toes.
Smith stands in the middle of that batter's box. Pretty evenly distributed weight. Now the 0-2 pitch from Miller. High and outside, 1-2.
Can't blame Miller there for trying to get a swing from Smith. Ahead in the count 0-2.
Still no outs here in the top of the 9th inning after those 2 walks that Kaiser issued to Dravis and Ryder. Now the 1-2 pitch from Miller. High and inside, almost hit Smith. Count evens up at 2-2.
Another breaking pitch there for Miller, really trying to induce a swing and miss. Got to go right after him now with runners on first and second and a 2-2 count.
Miller definitely has the stuff not to be afraid of these batters, so you'd like to see him attack them pretty aggressively. 2-2 in the top of the 9th. Miller checks second, comes set, delivers to the plate. Strike 3 called.
Great pitch there from Miller. Looked like a curveball, able to get Anthony Smith on strikes, and that'll bring up Ty Sunken. 407 hitter on the season. Reached on the error by Blake Nelson in the 8th inning and came around to score.
Ty Sunken, who pinch hit it, as you mentioned, and came in and pushed Scott to right field to himself play center field. Runners still at first and second base for Bowling Green. 1 out here in the top of the 9th. The first pitch from Miller misses down and low, ball 1. Wolverines dugout at the top step, looking to see if Miller can close out Bowling Green, who's proved to be tough, not going away easy today. And the second pitch is swung on and fouled straight back there from Sunken. Evens up the count at 1-1. The first baseman, Schmidt, not bothering to hold on Randy Ryder.
To be fair, all of the runs that are on base right now don't really mean much. The tying run not even on deck yet.
For sure. Troy Miller comes set, checks the runner at second, now delivers to the plate, and that's waved at and missed by Ty Sunken.
Not something we usually see from Miller. He's usually a fastball primarily pitcher, but he's been mixing in his breaking stuff pretty well today, and it's been effective so far.
Very effective. Had Sunken guessing there. Count now moves to 1-2. Miller comes set. And the pitch swung on and hit down the line into right field. Charging after it is Pace. He goes towards the line and he runs out of room as that ball goes out of play. So the count will stay at 1-2. Looked like another breaking ball there from Miller. What do you think he goes with here on the 1-2?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see him triple up on the breaking ball.
Wouldn't be big. Sunken did look like he was more on it on that pitch, though. 1 out here in the top of the 9th. And the 1-2 pitch from Miller. Waved at and missed. Strike 3. Sunken goes down swinging.
So I was completely wrong. He went with a high fastball, but got the swing and miss. So Miller's second consecutive strikeout, and now he's started each of his most recent 3 appearances today, and then this most recent Wednesday, and over the weekend against Lipscomb. He's begun each appearance by striking out the first 2 batters as his first 2 outs.
So 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. It'll be Jeff Scott, the right fielder, up to bat as he looks to avoid ending the game for Bowling Green as a first pitch breaking ball misses high from Troy Miller.
And Jeff Scott, sort of a jack of all trades. He's 1 for 4 today with a single. Also has appeared behind the dish and in right field and center field for the Falcons.
Miller gets the sign from Salter, comes set, and now the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and missed. A huge hack there from Jeff Scott. Looked like he was trying to get all 5 runs back in one swing.
Yeah, and we've passed officially the 3.5-hour mark here at Ray Fisher Stadium, so a slugfest of sorts today.
The 1-1 pitch now to Scott. A nice breaking ball that missed just high, says home plate umpire Michael Schultz. Count goes to 2-1. Ryder on at first, Dravis at second. Michigan leading 10-5 here in the top of the ninth with 2 outs. 2-1 the count on Scott. Miller gets the sign from Salter. Checks the runner at second. Taking a long look in here. Now he comes set. And the 2-1 pitch is waved at and fouled back over the screen.
So Bowling Green down to their final strike now. Troy Miller looking for his 3rd consecutive strikeout here in the top of the ninth, and the crowd, everybody cheering and on their feet in the hopes of a Michigan Wolverines victory.
The crowd rises to their feet. Players on the top step of the Michigan dugout. Scott down to his last strike. Miller checks second and is 2-2. High and outside. Count goes full.
And if the Wolverines are able to pull off the win here today, it would be their first back-to-back wins this season.
It would be huge for the Wolverines, who lead 10-5 here in the top of the ninth. 2 outs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Scott batting. The pitcher, Troy Miller, looks in, gets the sign from Salter. Now he comes set. The pitch. And he plunked Scott right in the back of the head almost, right at the top of the back.
So Scott will take a trot down to first base. That can't feel too good.
No, that looked like it hurt. I guess Troy Miller said, if I'm going to walk you, I might as well hit you, get my money's worth right there. And that'll send Jeff Scott down to first and load the bases for Bowling Green, who are down 10-5.
So the tying run now on deck for Bowling Green. Troy Miller looking to end this game before Bowling Green has the opportunity to get back into it.
And pinch hitting for Bowling Green will be Dylan DeHanis, who's pinch hitting for the pinch hitter Cam Doherty. A lot of maneuvering going on by head coach Danny Schmitz. DeHanis bats left-handed, got the start in yesterday's game. He'll come on to face Troy Miller here. The bases loaded pitch. It misses and it gets by the catcher Harrison Salter. Coming home is Dravis. He'll score easily. Everyone moves up a base. Ryder goes to third and Scott goes to second. So 10-6 the Wolverines lead now. Definitely not making it easy as Troy Miller.
Yeah, the wild pitch there. Just unfortunate for Miller. Looked like the catcher Harrison Salter may have gotten a little crossed up. Either way, though, Bowling Green now trailing just 10-6 here in the top of the ninth.
Miller comes set again. And his 1-0 pitch misses again. It gets by Salter again. Here comes Ryder again. He is going to score easily. Scott goes to third. So Miller emptying the bases just on wild pitches.
We still have a runner on third base. That's Jeff Scott, who just got hit by a pitch. But Troy Miller, after hitting Jeff Scott, clearly struggling with his control, throwing that one in the dirt, and it got by Salter. And all of a sudden, Bowling Green has made this a 3-run ball game.
And they actually ruled that one a passed ball on Harrison Salter. That one, he probably should have blocked, perhaps a little bit harsh on the pass ball call there. It is hard to judge those bounces off that artificial turf. So now Scott at third and DeHanis with the count 2-0 on him. Takes that ball low, 3-0.
And Miller nearly spiked in that one again. Something happened to him after that hit by a pitch because he's just missing everything low right now.
And so Miller might actually bring the tying run to the plate here if he walks DeHanis. Now the 3-0 pitch. That one just nicked the outside corner, 3-1.
Generous call there from home plate umpire Michael Schultz. Looked a little outside to me, but Schultz giving Miller the benefit of the doubt.
Hey, Schultz has been out here for 3.5 hours also. He's ready to go as well. Now the 2-out pitch. That one's waved at a miss. Now Miller has fought his way back into the count, and it stands full at 3-2.
And Bowling Green once again down to their final strike. Didn't deter them last time.
So 2 outs here in the top of the ninth inning. Michigan up 10-7, runner at third. Dylan DeHanis batting. The 3-2 pitch. Swung out and grounded on the short to Blomgren. Blomgren gets up, he throws to first, and he gets DeHanis. Ball game. That's going to do it for Michigan Wolverines. They get the win 10-7. Troy Miller made it interesting there in the ninth, aided in part by the 2 walks from Ben Kaiser, but he comes in and finishes it out giving up 2 runs to Bowling Green there. Michigan takes the win on the day. They improve to 6-11. Bowling Green falls to 3-15.
The total time of game there, we had a long one today. 3 hours and 37 minutes. Wolverines 10 runs on 11 hits, 3 errors, left 12 men on base, and Bowling Green 7 runs on 5 hits, also committing 3 errors and leaving 9 guys on base. So both teams having trouble with guys on base, having a little trouble defensively. Definitely a good win here from the Wolverines. They get their first back-to-back wins of the season.
And as well, Michigan building a little momentum heading into some of their home games here. Rough day at the plate, rough day for Bowling Green, who committed 3 errors in the field. As it is, Michigan will take the victory 10-7. Any final thoughts here today before we go, Max?
Yeah, I just want to commend Jeff Criswell on his effort. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 runs allowed, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts coming out of the bullpen after Carl Kaufman exited the game early. He's the winning pitcher today for the Wolverines, improves to 1-1, and David Stopp, the losing pitcher for Bowling Green, falls to 0-2. But really a good team effort today from the Wolverines. They got some hitting from guys who you don't usually expect. Jack Blomgren having a nice game. Jordan Wogu hitting a home run. Really just an overall solid game for the Wolverines.
Absolutely. Wogu and Blomgren, as well as Engelman, just couldn't get out today. Wolverines take the victory. Stopp takes the loss. They improve to 6-11. Thank you all for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Join us again tomorrow at 1 p.m. as Bowling Green takes on Michigan, as Michigan goes for the sweep of the Falcons. Thanks for listening in again. We appreciate it. Have a nice day, and go Blue.